But I think the development of full artificial intelligence will spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody's checking it out.
With the rocket or whatever, but it could be fast, opposite direction. It was too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
You said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please! Please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. That's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1,
Doesn't have your best interest in mind. The government is self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. Asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we're here with my good friend James Salcedo of Salcedo Paranormal tonight, and we'd like to say hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. What's going on, guys? Do I have all my buttons clicked appropriately? Yes, I do. That means I'm coming through loud and clear. And all right, so this is the show where we get together Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific, and we talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. You know what those things are? Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. We got a doozy for you tonight because, as you know, we do these conversations just as a group of us, really, to include you. As I always say, and this is literally the truth of this, and I can have lots of friends of mine that I've met on this show and friends outside of this show that listen to this show, that the actual secret weapon of troubled minds is you. It's you. It's always been you. This is what this has always been about, is getting together and just talking about things and being able to say, hey, look, this stuff may or may not be real, so let's talk about it. It's as simple as that. It's not a complicated mathematical equation. It's just a conversation, okay? And there's a lot of people, there's a lot of polarizing stuff that people want to fight about in this day and age. They want to fight about politics. They want to fight about religion. They want to fight about whether God exists or not, or somewhere in between. I don't know. Look, I think those are all like interesting, relevant conversations, except for the politics part. But the rest of it is compelling. There's a lot there that you can really kind of put on a platter and talk about, and maybe spin it around on a lazy Susan, and pass it around and see who wants to partake of a little salt, and maybe create a circle of salt while you're sitting there waiting. But I don't know. It's my long-winded way of saying that we have an open line if you want to be part of the show. Several open lines. You can call us at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. We'll put you on the show. It's as easy as that. You can also click the Discord link at troubledminds.org, and that's the official website, troubledminds.org. It has the Discord link on top as well as the phone number. So if you miss the phone number when I read it super fast, because I do that from time to time, you can just find it at the website, troubledminds.org. There you go. So I think that covers it. Let's see. We got that. Oh, yeah. We're streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, DLive, and Twitter. We're broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. And so please, a couple things. Download the Fringe app at your favorite Apple or Android app store. It's completely free, and it's the easiest way to listen to Troubled Minds and all the amazing people that call into this show and co-host on this show and all the rest of that. The other thing is please also join the Fringe Discord, watching all the chat in all the places, including that spot, and you can join that at fringe.fm/chat. There we go. That's a lot of rambling. Too much rambling. Let's get to it. Let's see what my good friend James Salcedo was up to. What's up, bro? Are you there? Test 1 2.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Welcome to Troubled Minds, my man. So this idea tonight. So this has spawned this idea, kind of as usual, right? A lot of the conversations we have are sort of organic, in the sense that we start them with a particular topic, and they kind of range far and wide, right? And this one in particular started with Matt. Matt in California, shout out there. I see you out there in the chat. At the end of last week's show on Thursday, he called in and was talking about auras and how it sort of pertained to what we were discussing then. And it brought up a whole bunch of ideas here that James kind of kicked on top of with wait, like, what about auras and orbs? Like people see these spirit orbs all over the place. Are they related somehow? And bingo, bongo, boo, a show was born. And here we are, James. How does this happen? It happens like this every time almost, doesn't it?
It does, and it's just amazing how you get enough of us together talking. Because really, I think it was Tuesday actually, that show, because that was a weird night of synchronicities. I remember that. No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of No, it was Wednesday night. That's what it was. Anyway, that's a whole other story. But yeah, it was. I've just been finding a lot of stories about orbs lately for my own show, and just so it's been a topic a lot in discussions among a lot of the people that listen to this show and friends, and then the topic of auras came out, and I was just wondering, are the energies of auras and then the orbs, in some cases, are they similar? Are they identical, or are they connected at all? And that's really what I'm wondering about here.
And that's what we're going to get into tonight. So, like I said, this conversation does include you, and that's what we're going to do tonight. So, as we go, that's where we begin. That's where this conversation started. And like I always say, this is the important part of this. Like I said, being the secret weapon of troubled minds is you, meaning that the next show we talk about may be something you bring up this show, and that's the whole idea, right? So these conversations sort of flow into each other, as we found in terms of UFOs. We talk about UFOs on this show, and we talk about Stephen Greer summoning UFOs, right? And we've talked about, wait a minute. If that's the case, what is he summoning? Are these actual spirit orbs? And so if he's summoning not UFOs as lights in the sky, but maybe this idea of spirit orbs, it's sort of like all of these topics sort of bleed into each other with what's going on in the world right now. And I don't mean, World War III, nothing quite that dire. Well, I guess we'll see what tomorrow brings. But in just a sense of these things, whether it's a UFO, whether it's an orb, whether we're talking about auras of people, and all the rest of the stuff, it seems like everything seems to be just related anymore. It's crazy. It's crazy sauce, man. You can't even talk about UFOs without talking about demons anymore, right, James? Oh, geez.
Yeah, and it's interesting because if you think of orbs, we really have no idea what they are. They could be any number of things. They could be spiritual in nature. They could be just beings of light or plasma or electricity that are also in the shape of orbs. And not all orbs also, not all of them are perfectly spherical or perfectly smooth orbs. There's been a lot of stories I've been finding lately about these different colored masses of energy that are similar to orbs, but they're also just kind of messy in that they either flow like water, like air, or they change shape, or it just really makes you wonder what all this is, and it does seem like there's a lot of possibilities that connect everything paranormal in general.
Exactly, and people are saying in the chat, willow wisps, right? We talked about that in the past show regarding nature spirits and things like this. It just seems like it just blends together. So, per usual, we're just going to throw it all in a blender and talk about it, because why the hell not? So let's go. Let's begin then. So let's talk about where do you want to start, James? You want to start with auras, or do you want to start with the spirit orbs? How should we do this?
I think maybe you start with auras, because the orbs, that's where everything can really spread out.
Okay.
In terms of what they could be.
Perfect. You got it. Let's do this. Let's go to, we got this article from healthline.com, right? And wouldn't you know it, it's called What is an Aura? And 15 other questions answered. And I was looking into this a little bit, as I do. Again, I'm not an expert in any of this stuff, by the way, as many of you can tell. But I do read a lot, and I do follow news cycles pretty closely and try and determine at least, well, not really truth, because I think that's a slippery fish, as I always say, but probably maybe find some things that are worthy of asking questions about. And so I do read a lot of this stuff. And so whereas I am not an expert for sure, I am, what would you call me? Besides a knucklehead, James? There's got to be some other nice thing to call me. Not quite an expert. I think that's a stretch, but I don't know. Let's say I'm a enthusiast, a neophyte.
You're knowledgeable. You've been looking into a lot of this, and you've learned a lot of things. I think that's safe to say. That's not putting you at the top or the bottom of any list. So I think that works.
That works. All right. So I know a thing or two, right? But expert is definitely not on my list of credentials. So anyway, all right. So this article again from Healthline. Check this out. This is interesting stuff. What exactly are auras? All right. Now, this is pretty wild. As, quote, this is from Christina Lonsdale, a Portland-based artist behind a popular aura photography practice called Radiant Human. And she says this: as human beings, we radiate a very low level of electricity that's otherwise known as an electromagnetic field. And that's interesting. Like we've talked about that, like people as, right, the energy, the energy firing through the synapses in our brains and the neurons and all the rest of this stuff, and how else are we animated with our limbs and everything else, right, and our thoughts and our consciousness with anything other than electricity, right? It seems like that's the thing. So we do radiate a very low level of electricity, which, funny enough, kind of lends to that whole simulation theory and the idea that what Neo and those guys are plugged in as batteries to to power the machines in the Matrix, right? So curious that it begins here, and we're talking about humans as, I don't know, maybe not batteries, but definitely with this low level of electricity flowing through us, okay? And this continues. Ancient systems of medicine, such as Hindu scriptures like the Vedas, believe that this energy is expressed in 7 layers, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard this. Each layer is said to correlate to a different element of your physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional health. It's thought that these layers can interact with one another to influence your overall health. And here we go. So, and we've got aura colors. We can get into that a little bit later. So let's skip to number 3. It says this. Actually, let's get your take on that, James, and we'll get to number 3, which is, are auras real? That's the tough one, isn't it? Are auras real? But what's your first take on that? So the electromagnetic field we generate, but then also that low level of electricity that's flowing through us just as people has something to do with the aura structure here. Yes, no, maybe so?
I think maybe. And just getting back to the idea, it's funny that they say that, because in a way, another idea I've heard recently is that these auras and maybe these orbs, maybe those are just the energy signatures of something else we can't even see. So maybe the entire whatever it is not just the orb. Maybe that's its own version of an aura.
Okay. Meaning, though, that if we have the human, I don't know. So we're saying they're two different things, or we're saying the same thing? Or we're saying they're related already here?
I think that it could be related already, just in that what we see as orbs could just be the energy given off by other things, other beings, maybe not even spirits, just other living things that we don't even know what they are yet. That's the energy that they give off. Just like we give off energy, except that we most people don't see it usually.
Gotcha. Okay. So I'm with you there. I think that that's the whole reason of doing this show, this discussion tonight are these things related? So a few questions for you guys as well as we begin. So I know many of you have heard of not just these spirit orbs, but also human auras. Now, are these things real? So that's the first question tonight. That's the question for you. Is a human aura real? Can you actually determine like the state of somebody's, I don't know, essence or existence or maybe mood or that sort of thing from seeing their aura or through this aura photography, which we've talked about and we'll talk about coming up tonight as well? Or is this just some sort of pseudoscience BS? As always, right, we're looking for all the takes and whatever you think is mostly accurate here. Again, like I said, truth to me is sort of one of those slippery fish words that I'm like, I think people like to argue over truth. I think getting close enough to it is probably close enough for me. And that's asking the right question. So that's the first question. Human auras, spirit orbs, are they real? All right, number one. Number two, as we start getting into this, what are they then? If they're real, what are they? And are they related? That's exactly where we're going. So again, looking to hear from you guys tonight, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org and we'll put you on the show. Tonight, of course, we're here with James Salcido of Salcido Paranormal. I failed to mention he has a podcast. Many of you know. If you haven't checked it out, please do. Links in the description down below. And it says, follow James here. I'll actually move it up to the top as well. I ran out of time again, per usual. I always have like this allotment of time. I'm like, okay, about this much time, I can set everything up, and I always run out of time. What does that mean, James? Should I give myself more time?
It's tricky. I've told you this before. It seems like whenever I'm getting ready for my own show, I'm either ready 15 minutes ahead of time, or I am just not ready on time. There never seems to be an in-between.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And you're like, anyway. All right. So here's the next question, right? And this is straight from this article again. One more time, 702-957-1037. Are auras real? Now this is where things start to get sticky, right? This is from the, again, healthline.com. There are no scientific studies that exist to prove the existence of auras. Many practices and philosophies do believe that they are real. However, the interpretation of what an aura actually is may vary among practices and philosophies. All things have energy. It's the way you send out vibes or awareness. But it's unclear whether the energy can truly be thought of as a manifestation of the spiritual and physical body. In other words, not everyone believes that auras are a reflection of your state of being. One way to think of auras is as the energy that someone around you emits. Some people make you nervous, others relax you. This, in some ways, could be seen as a reaction to the energy they radiate, okay? Which will take us into colors and the rest of this stuff. But what's your thoughts there, James? I'm sure so if you guys don't know, James, of course, was born with a condition in his eyes, and he's legally blind, and so it's extremely interesting to hear his takes on these vibes around people, right? Because many of us rely on our vision or these other maybe sixth senses for intuition, but he can't rely so much on his eyes like many of us do, and so he sort of has this. I guess you could call it a sixth sense, right? I mean, I guess I'll say that because I think James is probably embarrassed to say he's Spider-Man or something, or Daredevil, right? It's nothing quite like that, but I think that we've talked about this before in that, James does believe, and I'm not speaking for you, I'm going to let you elaborate, of course, that in some way it does heighten your other senses, being able to not rely on your vision. But regarding that idea that when you're around certain people and they just sort of relax you, or other people like maybe make you nervous or agitated, go ahead with that. And then with a little bit of maybe the vision thing and seeing or not seeing, I've got one that can see, right? And maybe that's James.
Yeah, I definitely get that feeling. I do get feelings from people, and it's just a feeling. But it's something that surrounds them in their general area. It's almost like a non-visual version of an aura. It's like I'm sensing it, but I'm not seeing it. So, and yeah, I do get that feeling from people if they relax me, or if I don't quite like to be around them, even if they don't say anything that's really bad necessarily. there are still some people that don't care to be around. And it does have something to do, I've noticed, with their voices too, and that may just be a thing associated with my low vision. But those two together really do. I base a lot on those two, all of that put together, because you are right. I can't go by body language like so many people do, which it's something I know of, but I've never really witnessed a lot of. So, but yeah, I really do focus a lot on voices and even more than what they're saying necessarily, just voices and then that feeling that I get from people.
Yeah, interesting. Like how they say things, right? Particular emphasis in words. Like there's probably a lot going on that people just take for granted in that sense because they rely on their vision in most cases. So like as always, if we train ourselves, I think we can probably do all these things. It's just wake up, people, wake up. It's out there, right? It's out there and it's available for us. But we just we get lazy with the stuff we have. So interesting. So you think that maybe it is you're picking up on an aura. And it may sort of be connected to this idea we're talking about tonight. Now, what about the colors of auras? So we're going to get to that. We'll kind of dig into that just a little bit in depth here. And then what we'll do is relate those to maybe these spirit orbs and how people have said they see different colors of spirit orbs and the rest of these things. But in terms of the auras and the colors, so do you think then, you said if you get like a particular vibe from somebody, whether it's through the tone or maybe their delivery and their voice, but then also there's this other sense of, again, calm or unease or some other things. So what actually is going on with this? And do you think that maybe somehow you do have a sense of picking up auras? I think that would be the next logical step, right? Somehow, some way. And yeah, let's go with that. And let's see, just give you a time frame. We've got about maybe 2 minutes before we got to take a break.
Okay, yeah, I feel like it's really something. There's been a few times where I've felt like, oh, I don't like that person so much. And it's not that they did anything or say anything that I didn't like right away, just their feeling. And then inevitably, after so long, they would do something or say something that would get others to be like, oh yeah, I don't like that either. Let's not associate with that person so much. Even just in online situations too, in voice chats sometimes, I had that happen a few different times. So, and the colors thing, yeah, it's odd because I listened to a lot of articles over the weekend, and it seems like different people have different views on what colors mean. But one thing I have read in a couple of different articles is, above all else, trust your feelings, which is something I've come to decide and lean on myself, focus on myself over the years with paranormal experiences. If I don't feel any threat or any unease around something that is happening, I'm okay with it usually. So I think that can be applied to the aura thing as well.
Yeah, trust your intuition. So we're going to get to that. So what exactly are these auras, right? What are they? Are they related somehow to these spirit orbs? We're going to talk about those two concepts tonight. And spirit orbs in particular, right? Like James said, I think is probably a very, very good way to take us into the break and get into what comes next here after the bottom of the hour. But the idea that maybe these spirit orbs are maybe benevolent, malevolent, somewhere in between. And I read a bunch of stuff. James sent me a bunch of those articles he was talking about. And some people say that it depends on the color once again. So we have sort of these same ideas sort of merging together and make you wonder what the hell's really going on in this world we live in. Is this stuff real? And that's what's going on. So if you want to be part of the show tonight, you know what to do. Pick up the phone, give us a call. I'm here with James of Salcedo Paranormal, and please call us. What is your take on this? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Human auras, spirit orbs. What's going on? Have you ever had your aura read? Do you think there's something to this? Do you think it's pseudo-scientific hogwash? What about spirit orbs? People see them in photographs and put them up on these ghost shows on TV. Real or nah? 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. We're here with James of Salcedo Paranormal. Don't go anywhere. More auras, spirit orbs, and are they related when we return? Be right back. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we're here tonight with my good friend James Salcedo of Salcedo Paranormal, and we're discussing the idea of auras, human auras. What about the colors? What about the energy? What is with this? Is it real or is it not? But then also, people have seen spirit orbs in photographs. They've seen them in haunted places. They've seen them in places that are not haunted at all. And so the question becomes tonight, do you think somehow, some way, spirit orbs and these auras that are generated by the small electromagnetic field of people, do you think they're actually related? And there you go. We're streaming on Rockfan, YouTube, DLive, and Twitter. And of course, we're broadcasting live on the Fringe FM, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link and we'll put you on the show at troubledminds.org. Let's go back to James. What's up, James? Are you there? Testing 1, 2. Do you hear me, good buddy?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Perfect. All right, so let's keep on trucking here. We got some ideas to get to. Quick shout out over on what do we got over on the Fringe official? If you want to check that out again, fringe.fm/chat will give you a direct invite to the chat going on over at Fringe, and that's a Discord room. And we got Night Stalker over there. We got S Magician. Just want to give them a little bit of love. S Magician says, "I got my aura read by Samantha Moat. Moat, is that how you say it? That lady did such a great job getting information that was too accurate and too private for me to talk about." Oh, interesting. So I guess that becomes a whole nother thing, doesn't it? That if you do get a reading by a psychic, I guess it would be, that they can sort of use it as a fortune-telling situation, right, James? Have you ever heard of that?
I've heard of similar things. Yeah, it does seem like there could be more spiritual. The aura could be more spiritual along with just that natural energy, and so that some people could maybe pick up on people, the person they're reading more, in terms of their personality or their. It's hard to say. I feel like the aura, there's definitely a visual aspect to it, but I feel like it's also just a energy that you can pick up on to get feelings. I know that some people, and this was kind of mentioned in the chat earlier, and I do agree, there's also a thing as such a thing as just being empathic, but I feel like that may be part of it, but I don't know that's all of it. So it's hard to say, because when I've been around large groups of people, I don't always get feelings from all of them. It's more something I get from whoever is nearby me, not the whole area in general. So, not that I'm saying I know anything for sure, obviously, like I always say, but it's just these little distinctions and details. They really do make it hard to say anything for sure.
Yeah. So you wouldn't actually describe yourself as an empath in any capacity here.
I don't think so. Or if I am, it's a low level of it. It's limited to a really short distance. Whereas I've heard of some people that are empathic. They can get overwhelmed with the energy of everyone in an entire area, in a room or on a street. It's So I don't know if I am. It's like a short range thing. If I think is the best way to describe that.
Gotcha. Okay. So the question tonight for you guys, for everybody else out there, is, are human auras real? Have you had your aura read? Do you believe in this sort of thing as maybe a scientific thing, or do you think it's against pseudoscience or a bunch of hogwash? And the reason we do it in this format is because I want to find out what you guys know about it. Have you had experiences like a S Magician said there? Have you actually had your aura read by a professional or an empath or things like this? Like Matt said, he called in and kind of spawned the idea for the show last week, in that he had that photograph taken of his aura, and he was actually able to share those photographs with us in the Discord. So we saw that stuff. So it definitely exists. And can you believe it? I was looking into this, as you know me, and the equipment to get this stuff and be able to take these aura photographs will run you in the range. I couldn't get a direct price because everything was like, oh, call us for a price, email us for a quote, right? Which, of course, means, oh, geez, this is going to suck. This is going to be super bad. But what I could find is estimates suggest around $16,000 to get a device that will be able to actually take a photograph, and that what they have is like this little hand thing that you place your hand on as well, that's supposed to be taking like a sort of... a reading of the electromagnetic field that's coming off of you, right? You put your hand on this thing, you sit there, you're supposed to like be calm and chill or whatever, and not, not freak out, not be nervous, all that stuff. Just kind of hang out. And what they'll do is get a reading of not just the electromagnetic field through your hand that kind of sits on this device. It's shaped, like a hand, like you would expect. And so you put it on, and then they take the photograph, and they're able to somehow between the two determine what color your aura is, which is interesting and fascinating to me, because what does that stuff even mean? Like I said, when we were talking about the auras on that past show, when Matt called, I was like, I don't even know anything about that. When I was young, somebody said, Mike, you got a blue aura. And I was like, okay, you're weird. And, because, I was a knucklehead then. Now I'm still a knucklehead. I'd like to think I'm less of a knucklehead, but, sometimes we have a pretty high opinion of ourselves, and maybe we shouldn't. But in any case, so the colors of this. Now, I know you read a little bit about this as well, James, because you were looking at some of the same stuff I was. But what do you think about the colors here? I've seen everything from, green, blue, red, maybe sort of like a whitish, a mixed purple, and they could be blended in many ways, or even black auras. What do you know about this? What did you find in the research you did? And what is your general feeling regarding the colors? I'll get to what they actually mean and just read a quick list of this. But what do you think, like regarding, like for instance, you would expect if somebody had a red aura, they would be agitated, right? They would be angry. They would be maybe in a state of unease, right? Where if they had like and I'm spitballing here, I'm not taking anything. I'm just saying like a red cape to a bull, right? Like sort of thing. The bull like gets mad and charges, like that's how the old the wise tale goes. I don't know if it's true or not, because I've never had a bull, by the way. But if you have, let me know, James. but right. So I don't know if that's even true. But like typically with people, the color red's associated with anger or blood or right, sort of that. But then you would expect the other colors like the blues and the greens to be more like the ocean, more like calm. But I don't know. What's your take? And do you think there's any relation to, I don't know, maybe our state of awareness or state of being when it comes to human auras? And then second half, we'll get into orbs and start merging this whole conversation. But let's go colors and orbs, colors and auras right now.
Yeah, the colors, I almost wonder at this point, just based on those articles and everything, if maybe different colors mean different things to different people, the ones that are describing what they mean. If maybe for them, maybe let's say for one person, red is an angry color, or an agitated color, but then for someone else, they don't get that feeling. It's hard to say, just based on these articles and the different opinions of different colors that they give. So again, I think it goes back to the feeling, and then also the idea that I think auras can also change over time too, depending on a person, their personality and the things they go through and their life experiences, and I think that can be on a short-term and a long-term scale. So, that's one thing that the technology there, that's crazy. That's a lot of money for that. I can't imagine getting that kind of a camera or that kind of a device. But yeah, so it's really, at first I was thinking, we'd look into this and we'd find a good consensus on whatever all the colors mean, and then I was looking at the articles, it's like, oh wait, no, not really, So unfortunately, I can't just say, that they do, that these colors mean this almost for sure because of the different opinions. And I think that's what makes me wonder if it really is different for everyone in terms of what they sense and see, and then what those colors mean to them.
Yeah, exactly. Great points all. And I interestingly too, it is notable that some people can naturally, like Matt called one and we was talking about this, what kind of kicked off the idea for this show, is that if he can see them normally. He said it's taken him some practice, and so people out there can naturally see these auras, right? And other people can't. I can't see a lick, right? I'm definitely not one that can see, but it is interesting to say that you need, in some cases you need James, it's only 16 grand, by the way. Let's buy two.
Oh, sure, no problem.
Yeah, right. It's no big deal, right? It's only 16 grand. With inflation, it's got to be 20, right? Cool 20K. Who cares, right? That's less than a nice car. Yeah, it's all fine. It's fine, but
I'll just sell my car and we'll take no.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you sell your car, I'll sell my car, and then we'll borrow the rest to buy one. Right? Exactly. Okay, so but the crazy thing is that some people say they can see auras, right? And the thing is, though, if you can, how come you can? How come some people can't? That's another good question for tonight. And then also, can you practice? Like Matt said, he could practice here. And I'm not saying that Matt's wrong. I'm saying what has been your experience. So that's the good stuff that we're talking about. We're discussing human auras and spirit orbs. We're going to get to orbs in a second here. But so it seems interesting, that all these different colors and whatnot. So the question for you guys tonight, again, is this stuff real? Human auras, do you believe it's real? Do you believe it actually is related to sort of our state of being, state of consciousness, something like this? Or again, do you think it's pseudoscientific hogwash, and that I could take some Photoshop and say, James, your aura's green? That'll be $25, thanks. Right? And again, I say that in jest because we know there's going to be people that do stuff like that, right? If you can make money doing it, there's going to be people that cut corners and cheat and try and mislead you, right? It's just a nature of not just this game, the quote paranormal game, but it's also the nature of humanity, right? I mean, number one, first we got to feed ourselves, so there's that. But then there's a second part of there's that human greed element, right? And you got to compete with the next best psychic. And if you can't compete, then I've heard the term, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So there it is. So there you go. So what are your thoughts on human auras and spirit orbs? So let's get to these colors real quick. This is again from that one article. And like James said, this is the craziest part about this is all the links, by the way, are on the description down below. You can always find our links. We're not trying to hide anything from you. We're telling you where we got all the information from. We're not making it up, etc., so on. And James is completely right. On so many different sources, they have different ideas of what's what. We'll just go with this general idea here from healthline.com. And again, link is in the description down below. But red, it says a red aura is well-grounded, energetic, strong-willed. Orange is going to be adventurous, thoughtful, considerate. Yellow is going to be creative, relaxed, and friendly. Green is going to be social, a communicator, and nurturing. Blue is going to be intuitive, spiritual, and free thinker. Indigo is going to be curious, spiritually connected, and gentle. And violet is going to be wise, intellectual, independent. So again, there's sort of a baseline, and like James said, and it's true, it depends on who you ask. Some of these colors may or may not sort of correlate or mix. And I think what's interesting too is we find a lot of that stuff in like other sort of fortune telling, like tarot and stuff like that. I'm sure you've seen some of that, James, where some of the tarot readings are, or let's say astrology even, where you get maybe a same or similar sort of set of cards or a certain birth sign, but the readings aren't exact, right? Or else you'd only have, for the zodiac, you'd only have 12 exact readings for people, right? So that doesn't seem, it seems like there's got to be a little more nuance to me than just like these 5 colors or whatever. Because Matt's photograph that he shared with us on Discord last week had a merging of colors. It wasn't just one particular color. So maybe all these things sort of come together and have, I don't know, maybe a, damn it, Ronald with the jokes, maybe an actual something or other. I don't know. What's your thoughts on the colors here regarding, like you said, so you did say that number one, it seems like maybe it's up to the person who's interpreting, right? But then 2, do you think there is something to this in that, let's say your aura may be this or my aura may be that, what about this photography? Do you believe it's real, or do you think it's a pseudoscience?
I always go with the possibility that there could be both. There could be some people that do it for real. There could be some people that are completely scamming people. Yeah, it's just like anything. I don't believe that all psychics are fakes. Just like I don't believe that all psychics are real.
Yeah. So maybe
that's the first thing. Yeah, maybe.
maybe it's so you need in this day and age you need to bring a psychic you trust to the palm reader and the person who takes your photograph for your aura to make sure that they're not trying to hustle you. you need like or just bring your circle of salt. That may solve it all. So we got some good chat over on all the chats here, but okay, so maybe a good solid maybe. But then what about the different colors now? What about red and all the rest of this stuff, or blue, or et cetera, so on? How does that make you feel, knowing that somebody might be able to spot you out of a crowd and be like, that's the one. That's the guy I'm looking for.
It's I find it interesting that Healthline article, all the colors are basically positive. And again, that makes me wonder about how these things are filtered through the person's ideas and their personality. If some people do look for more of the positive and everything, and others, if they see something that's maybe not so good, they're not afraid. They're not afraid is the right way to say it, but they have no problem saying that this color could also mean this bad thing in different cases, which I think there is a kind of duality, and there has to be a balance in everything. So I was actually talking with Rohan about this other day, how, in the paranormal there seems to be these tendencies to everything either has to be good or bad. There's never any medium in a lot of popular culture and all of that. So it seems like that could apply to this as well.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, right? I've always been super skeptical about stuff like this because not because, let's say, I didn't believe it's possible. I think I was just been super skeptical because it's like one of those old lessons you learned when you got hustled when you were young. You're like, somebody was like, oh yeah, that'll cost you 25 cents, and you're like, well, all I have is 25 cents, and they're like, well, you're priced in. You know what I mean? You're like, I'm sold, and then they take your money, and you're like, wait, what just happened? What just happened? Right? So it's kind of like that. It's like, you kind of, after you've been hustled the first time, call me a hard cookie to crack when it comes to stuff like that. But I'm like, let's not know. So I've never been to a palm reader, never been to any of that stuff, right? So for a number of reasons, we'll get into that maybe into the third hour tonight. But I think that well, I don't know. This is one of those ones that, to me, some people emphatically say, no, this is real. And some people are like, no, this is all pseudoscience hogwash, So I don't know. Again, looking to hear your guys' thoughts on this. What do you think? This idea of human auras. We're going to get to this spirit orbs in just a sec here after the top of the hour, and we'll start merging this conversation on what these two things may or may not be. But if you've ever had your aura read at a wherever, like I don't know, convention, a fair, or went into a brick and mortar shop or something, or even online, maybe you sent in a photograph and they did like a reading for you, something like this, or on a webcam. You can do that in today's modern technological age. For crying out loud, my face is on a webcam right now. So maybe if you can see my aura on a webcam right now, can you report back and let me know? So what are your thoughts? Is this stuff real? Is this stuff fake? Anywhere in between? Have you ever had this, had a reading? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037, and we'll put you on the show. We're here with my good friend James Salcedo of Salcedo Paranormal. And you can ask him something. You can ask me something. You can tell us about your experience with this stuff. And what about the colors? You think the colors have any relevancy to this? Again, kind of based on the chakras and things like that. You know me. And again, being super skeptical and robbed of my first 25 cents I ever owned, right? That I probably found in the gutter somewhere. But it was my 25 cents, I'll tell you what. But right, in that vein, it also makes me, I forgot what I was going to say. All right, at 702-957-1037. Let's go. Let's see. We got, what's up? Just a quick a couple shout outs. They usually don't get a lot of love if they're listening to us on the Fringe FM because during the commercials. But what up? Just a real quick, we got Sammy's out there. I see you. We got, who else is here? And Night Stalker, of course. We've got Paul Till Dawn. I see you guys. They're talking about auras over there and discussing how this stuff is real and that maybe they've had these experiences. So there you go. All right. So let's. Sorry, Axel says I'm in the queue. All right. Let's go. Shall we do Axel? Shall we give Axel a few moments?
Yeah.
All right. Let's do it. Let's go to Axel in Michigan. What's up, Axel? Welcome to Troubled Minds. You're on with Mike and James. We got about 3.5 minutes, but you can stay after the break if you got some time, my friend. Go right ahead.
Are you talking to me?
I'm talking to you. Axel, you're on Troubled Minds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was listening to the YouTube feed, so it's a bit behind. Anyways, yeah, auras. I mean, auras are pretty cool. You guys were talking about the tarot. The tarot actually does assign aura colors to people based on their birthday, and I know that me and Mike share a birthday. We're not going to say what it is, but we share one, and so I could tell you what your base aura color is in the tarot system, Mike.
Okay, don't do that. Because I don't do that. I lost my quarter once. I'm not going to lose it again, even if this is free. Nope, don't do that, please. But okay, so here's the thing, though.
All right. Well,
don't do that. Thanks for the offer. I appreciate it very much. Here's the thing, though. So, do you think this aura stuff is real? And real quick, so like I said, we got like a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes for you. Can you stay over after the break? I want to make sure we can time this appropriately.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I'll tell you off air sometime whether you like it or not, but not on the show.
Okay, perfect. I appreciate that. Okay, so about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Go right ahead. Do you think this aura stuff is real, or do you think it's just part of like the, as some say, the pseudoscientific zodiac and tarot reading stuff? I know that again, you said you're a materialist in the past. I'm not going to speak for you here. What are your thoughts regarding the aura itself? Do you think people can see it and other people can't? Go right ahead.
I mean, there's Kirlian photography. I mean, definitely people can see auras. I'm just not sure those auras are like a real material thing. Like, you can, Kirlian photography normally has people, they have like their hands or feet on like charged plates, and like it creates this like electrical corona that the camera records. But yeah, sure. They're real enough. Why not? I've had my aura read. It's fine. I had some pictures taken. So, why not? It's a nice thing to believe in.
Why not? All right. Let's give it a why not. We're here with Axel Steele, good friend of mine. Also James of Salcedo Paranormal. James, anything for Axel real quick, and then we'll go into the break. But stay put, Axel. Just mute up right after this, and we'll bring you back as soon as we come back on, okay? What you got for James, Axel? Or Axel, James, sorry, the other way around.
If James wants to give me his birthday off mic, not for the public, I could tell you what your base aura color is if you'd like to do that, but you don't have to.
Okay, well, I find that really fascinating, and that there is a connection between the aura and the tarot. Again, these connections. It seems like everything is connected these days, which I'm okay with that. If that is the case.
I 100%. I'll get my book up here so I can do it.
Okay. All right. So we're again here with Axel. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. We're talking about this idea of human auras. Do you think they're real? Number one. Number two, we're going to get to after the break here, after the top of the hour, spirit orbs. A lot of people see this in the paranormal world. You see them on like, Zach Baggins beating his chest on the Ghost Adventures going, where are you? And they're like, oh, look, they've got the spirit orbs on camera, right? And, in a lot of cases, they get sort of smacked down as, this is just dust and these guys are full of crap. But what do you think? Again, like I said, I'm not trying to tell you what it is. That's some people truly believe these are real spirits, sprites, or other maybe malevolent or benevolent entities. Other people believe it's just specks of dust and hogwash. So that's what we're talking about tonight, including human auras, and love to hear your thoughts. So here you go. Smashing the button so you guys can hear the music as we go to the outro. And that's what's going on. We're here tonight with James of Salcedo Paranormal and our good friend Axel Steele. And this is what we're talking about. Why the hell not, right?
I'll send you a DM, James.
Okay, perfect. Human auras, spirit orbs, are they somehow related is where we're headed tonight. If you want to be part of the discussion, love to hear your thoughts. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037, and we'll put you on the show. It's as easy as that. And, well, sometimes things are easy. Other times, they're a little less easy. So that's what we're doing tonight, tackling the idea of both the aura and the spirit orb. Do you think they're related? We're going to get the spirit orbs after the break. What are your thoughts? This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Once again, here with James and Axel. Be right back. More auras, spirit orbs, and your calls when we return. Don't go anywhere. talking about the alien abduction phenomenon.
The aliens are looking through your eyes and they're accessing your optic nerve. I'm doing fantastic. And through that optic nerve, they're transferring to your brain. People are random images as they traverse neurons in the brain.
All right, so maybe,
and they also feel them planting or receiving memories or ideas or images.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we're here tonight with my good friend James Salcedo of Salcedo Paranormal and also Axel Steele. And we'd like to say hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. What's going on, guys? It is, what night is it? Monday night, which is one of the nights we get together and talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. That would be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific. By the way, somebody just sent me a voicemail tonight and asked, when do you guys record live? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific. And you can find all that information at troubledminds.org. We get together and talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. I like to call those things, just to sum up, aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. Tonight, we're discussing this idea of auras, human auras, but not just the human auras themselves. Is this real? Is this a charlatan's trick to rob you of your 25 cents? Or is this actually something that is based in some sort of science? Love to hear your thoughts on that. And of course, we're going to get to spirit orbs as well, because the whole conversation started as, well, are auras and spirit orbs somehow related? They have this weird thing where they both talk about colors of the things as meaning intention. The auras, of course, are based on the human chakra, things like this. The spirit orbs may be malevolent or benevolent entities. Who knows? It always depends on who you ask. And so it doesn't really matter what I think. It matters what you think. So if you want to be part of the conversation tonight, give us a call, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037, and we'll put you on the show. And of course, we're streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, DLive, and Twitter. We're broadcasting live on The Fringe FM. Let's get back to James. James of Salcedo Paranormal. What's up, brother? Are you there? Test 1, 2.
I'm here. Yeah, this is I love this discussion, and like I always say, I don't claim to know anything or say that anything is for sure, but I just love looking into these possible connections between things, and this is a great one.
Appreciate it. Thanks for spending your time with us tonight. And Axel Steele, are you still there, my friend?
Yeah, I'm around, my friend.
Okay.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Always a pleasure to have you. All right, so we left off talking about the idea that tarot is actually related somehow to the, not just the idea of the chakras, but the actual aura itself and those colors, right? So go ahead, please explain.
I mean, there's so all the cards have a color, and based on your birth date, well, they have multiple colors, but based on your birth date, there's a card that's kind of assigned to you. And so that's kind of in this theory, that's kind of the base color of your aura. Now, your aura changes over time. You're not stuck with it. You know, you move through different levels of enlightenment, you change, but this is sort of like the default rest state of your aura. I'm not going to say what mine is, because I said that we share a birthday and you don't want me to say, so that's off the table. But James was nice enough to tell me what his birthday was. So James, would you like to know what your base aura color is?
Sure.
Deep blue flecked with yellow.
Okay.
Okay.
Doesn't sound too bad.
I knew it. I knew there was a reason I didn't like that, James. It's because of the deep blue and the yellow. no. I don't know. So what does that mean? What does that even mean? Is there okay? So
hey, buddy. I don't know that. I just know what the color is.
Okay. All right. Perfect. And once again, I think once you start getting down to like the color of people's auras, it turns into that. It's sort of an interpretation thing, right? Like again, back to the colors and red, in some cases, like James was saying that we are started with that article from Newsweek, Healthline, not Newsweek, but everything on there was a positive thing, even red. But I found some other sources that James also sent me as well, that they have the color red is sort of a kind of a spirit out of balance, right? Things like that. I'm sure you read some of that, right, James?
Yeah. The reds, even some of like the greens and browns, and even in some cases white, which I was surprised, because so often you hear about the white, the white light, the idea of that color or that light being supposedly, to a lot of people anyway, the symbol for good, for everything that is good in the universe or in people.
Right.
But then some of these articles are saying that may not be it. It may just be a case of this is an exceptionally strong aura or orb or energy, where it doesn't mean it's necessarily good. It's just there's a lot there in some cases. I thought that was different.
Sorry. Obviously, the tarot system's just based on your birthday, so it's not like everyone born on the same day has the same personality. It's just a baseline.
Okay, all right. Baseline. That's a good word. That's a good term is baseline. Okay, so that's what we're doing tonight. We're discussing this, and we got a couple questions in the chat, which we'll ask Robert. He's on the phone here. I had the question. He said every living being has an aura. And I said, well, what about a cockroach? Because, cockroaches. Is a cockroach going to cockroach? And he said, yes, even them. And somebody in the chat said, does Bigfoot have an aura? And also, Ronald over on Rockfin wants to know, do Scottish people have plaid auras? Damn it, Ronald. Why?
Probably.
Why, bro? Why? All right, 702-957-1037. Let's go to Robert in Pennsylvania. Welcome to Troubled Minds, my friend. You're on with Mike, Axel, and James. Go right ahead. Hello? Test 1, 2. Are you there, Robert? Test 1, 2. Robert. I think all my buttons are pressed appropriately. I don't have anything broken.
I don't see him in the chat.
He's on the phone.
Okay.
Test 1, 2. Robert, are you there? If you're there, I don't hear you, Robert. Maybe we got a bad connection. You want to maybe call back, or I don't know what's going on. I have no idea what's going on. Everything should be good.
I want to talk to Robert. I'm sad now.
Yeah, Robert's a good dude. All right, Robert, call back, please. I cannot hear a word you're saying. So if you're talking to me, well, it's not working. It's not working, let's say. All right, 702-957-1037. Let's get somebody test the phone number to help Robert as well. Maybe it could be me. It could be me, meaning something here broke, because it happens from time to time. On a live show, you never know, right? One little thing gets toggled and everything breaks. Okay, so go ahead. Axel, what's your thought there? We'll go to James, and then we'll move on to spirit orbs.
Oh, I was just going to say, do you want me to tell you my aura reading experience, which was probably a scam, but I could still explain what happened.
Sure. Let's hear it. Let's hear how it went.
So I was in Seattle. I was visiting a friend of mine, and there was sort of like a fair, and there was a guy that was doing aura readings. And the deal is that it was kind of like a dark room. It was a fair, so it was like a tent, and then he would take your picture. And then, I guess he was claiming it was like a Kirlian camera, and it would reveal your auras. And he did take, and I was like, why not? I'll pay the $15 or whatever. What do I got going on in my life? And he did take the picture. And then when the picture got resolved, he claimed to be shocked. This is why I'm like, it's probably a scam, because I was still pretty dark, in the dark room, but everything around me was illuminated. I was a light bulb, without the light bulb that you could look at where the light was coming from. That makes any sense?
I would call you something much less nice than that, but yes, okay, that's fine. That'll work.
Well, tell me the less nice thing.
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
But no. It was. I was so dark, but everything else in the room was illuminated. He pretended to be surprised, and I gave him some extra money. I took the picture, but that was my Aura reading experience.
Gotcha.
I'm sure it was a scam.
Gotcha. Sure, it was a scam. Quick, we got Robert back on the line. Let's try this again. Quick shout out to Joey. Okay. Joey over on YouTube says, "This is the best podcast. Every week the subjects are fantastic, as are the regular callers. Shout out." You got it, my friend. Mm-hmm. Let's go. Thanks for the compliments. And again, that's just not me. That's all you guys. That's Axel. That's James. That's all the amazing people that call into the show. Speaking of which, let's go back to Robert in Pennsylvania. Let's try this again. You're on Troubled Minds with Mike, James, and Axel. What's up, Robert? Are you there? Oh my goodness gracious.
Oh.
This is not good. Okay, Robert, don't go anywhere. I'm going to mute you, and I'm going to go try and see with somebody else and see if we can troubleshoot this right now.
Is he on the Discord? Can maybe come in through the Discord chat?
Maybe, but he's on the phone, so let me just try and fix this right now. It'll take just a second. Take just a second.
I'll talk to James for a bit. Hey, James.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Hold on. This is a live radio show. Okay. Let's go to Jay Winch in Texas. What's up, my friend? You're on Troubled Minds. Okay. Go right ahead. You are on. Let's test this. Jay Winch, are you there? Uh-oh.
I was just going to vamp with James for a bit.
Oh, okay. This could be me. This could be my problem. Jay Winch, are you there? I think the phone's broke. Let me see. Hold on. This might be a setting on Google Voice. One moment, please. Let's see. All right, bear with me, guys. Sorry about that. I think that's part of the problem with these dealios of these live shows is everything seems fine, right? Until it doesn't. And then it doesn't. All right, let's see. Let me check my voice meter output. Voice meter input. Everything should be fine this way. Yeah, see? Look, hey, complicated audio setups. My brother makes fun of me that we're playing video games and everything's broken, and he's all, why is your stuff always broken, Mike? I'm like, it's too complicated to explain. He's all so complicated that you don't even understand. I said, kinda. All right, Jay Winch, are you there? Jay Winch, 1 2, test 1 2. Can you hear me? No. Nope. Okay. All right. So apparently it's me. So sorry about that. I apologize. I'm hanging up on you guys. We'll have to fix this later. Sorry to keep you waiting for that, Robert. I apologize. Apparently the phone lines are broken. It could actually be a Russian hack since everything's Russia's fault these days. 702-957-1037 would be the phone number, but it's broken. So try the Discord, troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link. What can you do? All right. What's up? Robert says, I'm a Rockfin, not Discord. Yeah, you dirty Discord. Okay. All right. So let's get to you gonna hang, Axel? You gonna hang out with us? What's up with you?
I'll hang for a bit. Okay. I love you guys.
Okay, stay right there. All right, so James, let's get to this idea then. So we're talking about human auras, right? And how they have these different colors. Now, what about these actual spirit orbs? Now, what the hell are these things? What's your first take on this? And then we'll get into how maybe these two things may or may not even be related.
Yeah, there are different takes on that. Basically, they can be a spirit, like you said. Now, that can either be a human spirit or another kind of spirit, another kind of being that is also just made of energy somehow. Again, this is all very much, I guess you could say, open to interpretation and experience and all of that. But it's just this idea that what people are seeing is literally these spheres of energy, or these fields of energy that are visible and move around, and in a lot of cases they're even seen. The ones, and this was mentioned earlier in the chat, the ones that you can catch there, you see on camera, on videos, those in a lot of cases can be bugs or dust or different things like that. But then there are also cases where people see these things without cameras, or they'll see them on cameras, but they'll go through people, and then you'll if it's like an investigation of some kind, at that time that this happens, the person will say something like, "Oh, I just felt this sensation, this strange energy go through me, go through my arm, or touch the back of my head, or whatever the case may be." And the video, there will be an orb of some kind that will touch the part of the body that they mentioned, or seem to anyway, as they're saying that. So it really is odd. I do believe, again, there's some that are just glitches and mistakes, but just based on people's experiences, I do think there are some that seem to be real as well.
Okay, and so we've all seen Ghost Hunters or something related, right? Some kind of like a Discovery or History Channel show where, in this case, I'm going to use Zach Baggins as an example of Ghost Hunters because he's hilarious. And he stomps into these supposedly haunted places. Hold on. Stomps into these supposedly haunted places, beats his chest and goes, "You dirty little ghost, where are you? Ah!" And then they have like all the footage of like all these little spirit orbs. Go ahead, Axel. What are you going to say?
I was going to say nothing. I think James was about to say something, but I will just say that, like, I'm not particularly... How are ghosts scary? Come on. They're dead. They're not a big deal.
Hey, what if they walk into you and take you over? Isn't that scary? You've heard of possession, I'm sure.
Please, that's not going to happen. Come on.
All right.
I'm tough enough.
All right, tough enough. There you go. We will. So we're going to have everybody cast all their spells on Axel one of these days on a show coming up because it's going to be funny. He's tough enough to handle it all, so...
Yeah, give it your best shot, guys.
Okay, don't do that. I'm only kidding. Axel knows I'm only kidding. All right. So you see, James, what are we going to add there?
I was going to say it's Ghost Adventures.
Isn't that what I said?
No, you said Ghost Hunters.
Oh, what is it? Yeah, sorry. Sorry. What can you do? Hey, troubled minds, knuckleheads. What's the difference, right? I don't know, man. Okay. So I'm just saying, like, whoever these people. Good that I mixed it all up because now I can say that I wasn't thinking of any of those people. But you get the idea here, right? So everybody's seen this idea that these spirit orbs show up in these photographs, and the line goes. It's sort of like EVPs, right? Everybody knows the electronic voice phenomenon. They do all this stuff in these ghost hunting shows where you're not supposed to be able to see the orbs with the naked eye in most cases, all right? And then the way they appear is when you take these photographs, and they say that it's because they move too fast for the human eye or in some sort of light frequency that the human eye cannot easily pick up. And so these cameras somehow, some way are able to capture them. Okay, so once again, right, like at some point, like there's the bokeh stuff, the bokeh or whatever you call it, BOKEH. Then there's like the dust in the air, and there's a whole lot of like just regular on like a high definition camera and like a dusty room. You're gonna pick up some stuff like that, all right? And so a lot of the debunkers or the Mick West types or whatever, don't want to speak for him directly, but a lot of those people would say to the effect of, well, it's not real. It's because, they're picking up these dust things and, whatever's going on with that. I don't know. So Robert says, I'm not pulling your leg. He said that when he called, he heard a screaming woman on the line.
Oh, my Lord.
That's what he said. That's what he said. And I said, what's that all about? He says, then the line went dead. He says, I'm not even pulling your leg. I heard her for at least a second yelling or screaming. All right.
He's getting a radio echo. That's weird.
No woman screaming here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's odd.
That's odd.
You know what? I don't want to say for sure, but sometimes when I'm either doing my own show or on other shows talking, there will be weird stuff that happens. I don't know why. I don't do it on purpose. It's not me that I know of doing anything, but it's happened. So who knows? Could be my fault. Maybe this once you can actually blame me for a good reason there, Mike.
Damn it, James. This is all your fault. This is all your fault. All right. That's fine.
I am extremely intrigued by this screaming woman. I wish Robert could get on the line so we could hear about it.
Let's Let's try it again. Actually, so what I'll do on the break here, I'll do it right now because we've got that technology. I want to shut down the phone calls, and I'll try it again. I'll reconnect and see if it's on my end. Everything seems to be okay. So I'm going to shut all this down, and we'll try this again. And we can try again at the bottom of the hour for these phone calls if you guys want to do that. I'd appreciate that. Okay, so all right. So regarding these spirit orbs, back to Axel real quick while we got you here. So do you think there is something to this? Like you said, ghosts aren't scary. But do you think, I mean, again, you're, like I said, materialist and all the rest of this, so you don't believe in ghosts at all, am I right?
Oh, I don't know if I'd say that. I distrust ghosts. But what I will say about spirit orbs is that, there's been this idea of ball lightning. They want to throw a lot of things off that it's ball lightning, not an apparition. But they have never managed to recreate ball lightning in a laboratory. So it is still, ball lightning is still very theoretical. There's maybe that's what's going on. I guess that would be what my take on it is. So yeah, with spirit orbs, that's cool.
Okay, or
ghosts a little less because why are dead people hanging around with us? Come on.
Hey, we talked about that. There's the waiting room and near-death experiences. There's all that stuff. There's a whole bunch of that stuff. I know. I'm with you, right? I'm with you. If I haven't seen it, I have a hard time believing it myself. But this is troubled minds, and we talk about we consider the things, right? We consider the things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see.
I always take everything seriously. That's what I've always said.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, so a good solid no on this one from Axel.
Yeah, I'm being very. You know what? Spirit orbs, maybe. Ghosts, not really. That's kind of my take.
Okay, but what would the spirit orbs be? We got about a minute and a half, and then we got to.
I just don't know. It's just the scientists always want to claim it's ball lightning, but no one's ever been able to replicate ball lightning. No one knows how it would work. And so it is a totally unknown phenomenon. So I really just couldn't say what they might be. I mean, if you really pressured me, I'd be like, probably some sort of natural phenomenon we don't understand, but we haven't been able to recreate it. So, maybe it is weird spiritual energy. I'm on board with that.
Yeah, there's in different parts of the world, some people have called them sprites or pixies or nature energy. We've talked about elementals before on this show. Other people have said that they're actually like a visit from the gods or maybe your guardian angel. It just depends on, it's interesting how different parts of the world actually have different designations for what these things may or may not be. So James, a quick take on that, and then we'll wind this down. And I did re-up the phone line, so if you guys want to give it a call, let's try that in a sec, but go right ahead, James. Your final take for this segment, and then we'll move on to the next.
Yeah, I think we still, again, kind of to Axel's point, and also we still don't really know what spirit even is or consciousness. So that's another reason why it's hard to say what these orbs really are. I do feel like I have a hard time, and I'm not saying he's doing this, but I have a hard time dismissing the feelings people get from these things at times, and that can range from good to bad to indifferent. I'm sure in some cases people's own fear can influence those feelings, especially if they're maybe not used to these events, but I feel like it's important to pay attention to those feelings as well.
Okay, agreed 100%. And we have a way of getting in our own heads as humans, don't we? Where, it's like, I'm supposed to be scared? Oh, okay, I'm scared, right? Like we can certainly very much convince ourselves in particular situations of things as social pressure. Axel, you going to hang around a little bit more?
I'll be around. I'm just having a beer.
Okay, don't mind you. All right, mute up, please. We're going to take a quick break. So here's what we're talking about tonight. We're here with James Salcido of Salcido Paranormal, and of course Axel Steele, good friend of ours, and we're discussing this idea of human auras, spirit orbs. Do you think somehow, some way, these are real? And if so, is it possible they could be related? 702-957-1037. Phone line should be back up. Just restarted everything. And we got a couple calls we'll go to, and we got Jennifer in Missouri as well. What do you think?
Oh, it's nice.
Auras,
love Jennifer in Missouri.
There you go. Auras, spirit orbs, real? Nah, related, somewhere in between. This is Trouble Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. More after the break. Be right back. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're here tonight with my good friend, James Salcedo of Salcedo Paranormal, and of course, Axel Steele. And we're streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, D-Live, and Twitter, and we're broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. We're taking your phone calls tonight, as maybe the phone lines now work, discussing this idea of human auras. Different colors, different varieties. Are they mixed colors? What's going on with this? You think it's real? You think it's fake? And now we're into the idea of spirit orbs. Are they somehow related, and what is going on with this? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And let's do it. Let's keep on trucking and keep on talking about this crazy stuff. And James, welcome back. Are you there? Test 1, 2.
I'm here.
All right. Killing that echo for you guys. Axel, you there?
Always a pleasure.
All right. Have a beer. Be right with you, my friend. So what are your ideas here? Do you think this stuff's real or fake? Let's go to Jennifer, Missouri. Are you there? Welcome to Troubled Minds. How are you?
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear. Loud and clear. Go right ahead. You're on with James, Mike, and Axel.
Yep. Okay, so I'm glad you guys did this. And I was thinking about, how would you explain it? What is it? And this is just my own personal thoughts about it. But I was thinking that, so I think, the whole Earth and everybody has like their own unique kind of vibration signature, every plant and every person and the entire Earth and everything has like a electromagnetic field. And I think that each individual thing has its own unique vibration in that field. And I think that that's not what you're seeing when you see an aura, but I think that when, like, the life force, which is, like James said, like exactly what that is, no one's really sure, because I think when you go down to like an atomic level, and you have the nucleus and the atoms, if you go down to the atoms on a very like minuscule scale, and you think of it as like a miniature solar system in a way, creating its own magnetic field, and your body is made up of that, everything's made up of that. And then on an even deeper level than that, that's made up of something else. And I think that's something to do with like the life force, and the light. But I think it's the light moving through that magnetic, that vibration, the electro vibration. And that's the colors that people are seeing when they see auras. And the reason it's always different is because that electromagnetic field on everything is affected by so many things that it's like constantly changing. And I think that could be what we're kind of seeing. And then you take into account that the magnetic field, the centers, these certain like parts of the body, which many people have, everybody's familiar with this, about the chakras.
Mm-hmm.
But you have these more powerful, like, those centers are very important to the entire, just with the body and everything, of course, like all the nerve centers and everything, those are very, it's where all the energy is, kind of emanating from, and all the different centers of the body. So I think that those themselves, too, are operating kind of like, we've talked about black holes a lot. I know that's kind of not really fitting with the idea of the colors and the light, but I think that there is something to that. I think that, like, I've always thought that we are operating with some kind of wormhole or like something along those lines in the world of physics, and that by doing that, we're experiencing our reality. And I think that's where the chakra thing ties in, and maybe where that light, that energy is coming from, maybe. And then as far as when I think about the orbs, I've seen, like in a dark room trying to go to sleep, pops of light. And so I've only seen it once. And it was like different colors. Now I know that in Islam, that angels are made of light, and the jinn are made of plasma, as everybody knows, the smokeless flame. And then man is made of earth, Mm-hmm. Yeah, like electricity, electrical. It's smokeless flame. So they're made of that. So when you think about if you were seeing some of these beings, it may be some of those beings. Then you have the whole elemental spectrum. But when I think about the idea of ghosts, I think that gets really weird because since they technically have no life force, how is it that they're emitting an aura? So I don't know if that's what it is, or if an aura is unique to living things. Maybe somebody can add into that, because I think that is very interesting. But I've seen these pops of light, and I've photographed like blue lights over a Ouija board during a Ouija session. And there was no source for the lights. They just appeared in the dark. But I saw that in photograph. And now the other thing I saw with my own eye, I was trying to go to sleep, and it was almost like pops of light just out of the dark of the room. And there was nothing in the room except for the bed. So I thought that was really, and I mean, it was startling. And it was almost like somebody snapping off of like an old-timey camera or something. And it was just there and then not there. And the only reason I brought up the ball lightning thing was because Advent in the chat had brought up ball lightning. And I was like, I've seen ball lightning. But I don't know if it's tied into this in any way. Because people call it ball lightning. But what I saw was just a ball of light that moved across about 5 feet of a table length. And literally like hit me, like went through me in a way. And like out behind me through a window. And I saw that, and I didn't see it alone. I saw it with other people there. They saw it too. And it wasn't, I mean, I was like, it happened years ago, but the only thing I could equate it to was ball lightning. But for all other definitions, it was the size of a ball
what color
of white.
was it?
White. It was like and when it hit me, it felt like I was electrocuted. Like it felt like it electrocuted me just a little. And that's what it felt like.
That's
like if you
wild.
suck, like if you were to accidentally get zapped or something by a live wire, like it could have killed you. I think like it could kill a person. I think if it was strong enough. So that's why I wondered if it was ball lightning. But it literally just came out of nowhere in the room from the direction of this other person I was talking to. It was a table in my apartment about 5 foot long, probably 5-6 foot long. I had like 3 or 4 other friends. I'd have to like right now. There was it was a room full of people. Like it was me, 1, 2, like 2 people on one side of the table, and like 2 on the other. Then the person at the other end of the table, and it just appeared at one end of the table. I was like minding my own business, and it just like came across the table and like basically went into my chest, and like but then it went quickly. Behind me there was a window, and it like shot out that window at a diagonal out the window. I kid you not. But it happened like years ago.
So you've seen this stuff.
And all of us.
You've actually seen it with your own eyes. That's nuts. And had witnesses. There's always that moment, right, when you see something crazy, you're like, hey, so somebody come look at this. Am I not nuts? Right?
I looked at I looked behind me, then looked back at my chest, and then looked up, and everybody was looking at me. And I was like, what was that? And they're like, I don't know. It was like a ball of light or something. Like everybody was just kind of like, I don't know. It was really weird. And we moved on, right? But I realized a couple years later how completely insane that was. Like that we saw whatever that was, Because I saw an article about ball lightning. And I was like, it must have been ball lightning. Because it did feel electrical. But I don't know. But I've seen that one thing. And then I saw the one thing in the dark of a bedroom where it was just like pops of light going off. Like somebody taking, like those old cameras where they go flash, flash, like that. And I saw colors. And then I photographed blue orbs. And that was the only time I've seen specifically where I can honestly say, like, as honest it can be on, this anonymous way. But that's what I've seen. But I do know that, but it makes me wonder if those things are not something else, like some type of particular being or something. Because ghosts, I don't know. Because I wonder about how that, or if. That's all, though. That's what I was thinking. Other than that, not
appreciate the phone call. Thank you very much. Jennifer here in Missouri has a YouTube channel. Check it out. Links in the description down below. And follow all the fine folks, by the way. We got James here and Jennifer and Night Stalker. They all have links down below, so please do that. Thank you, Jennifer, for the phone call. Always great stuff. Let's go to. I'd get your
Thanks
guys'
for calling,
take.
Jennifer.
Definitely, I'll get your guys' take after because we have Robert waiting a very long time on a broken phone that may now be fixed. Let's go to Robert in Pennsylvania. Thanks for being patient, my friend. Go right ahead. You're on Troubled Minds. Oh no! Wait! This is my fault. Yes. Okay, you're on. I hear you. Go right ahead, sir. Sorry, Robert.
Well, I'm going to start off with what Axel's curious about.
Sure.
And that's that woman that was yelling when I
want to hear about this.
When the phones weren't working. I'm telling you, this is what happened. I'm just there with dead air, with the phone up against my ear, and all of a sudden I heard this woman. I couldn't understand. Now I can't say what she was yelling about. I don't know what she was saying, but I heard her yelling, probably more of a yell than a scream, like she was yelling down through a hallway. And then the phone went dead.
What in the hell?
And then Mike disconnected the phone.
Okay.
He shut the phones down.
All right.
And that's very terrifying.
That was my inner woman screaming telepathically at the phone lines.
I don't know, but it was weird. I'll say that. It's almost like the line was connected to somebody else. You know
did you hear any words? Did they? Was it just like a primal yell, or was there any like enunciation? Was there any?
There's no question. There were words. There was no question. There were words. All right. This is very brief. It couldn't have lasted more than just a little more than a second. All right. That's why I couldn't quite catch what she was saying, what she was yelling about, but she was yelling, and at something.
Okay.
Oh man, this is the thing I'm interested in. But anyways, what else did you have to say, my friend?
The plot thickens. Hey, this is my show, Axel. Hey.
Robert. I'm taking over.
Robert.
The guest.
What did you say, Axel? Whatever Axel just said. Go ahead, Robert. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
All right. Now, this is my point of view on this topic. We are all energy. Energy is what propels us, gives us life. All right? I mean, it's like the battery that allows us to exist, to move, to talk, to think, all that stuff. And that's what you're seeing. This battery, which is, in my opinion, is the soul, is what radiates from the body because it's that powerful. That's the soul's radiating, the energy all over the body. And yes, cockroaches have them. All right? All life has energy. So, I mean, that cockroach could not possibly crawl across the floor without something energizing it to begin with. So, and that's trees, that's plants, everything has an aura. But I want to talk about the orbs.
Sure, go right ahead.
Okay. All right. All right. There are souls. When you die, your soul escapes, and it goes to wherever souls go. But orbs are quite different. I'm pretty sure that orbs are what's called sleepwalking souls. All right, astral projections. All right. I like when Jennifer was saying that she's in her bedroom and she could see this orb in her bedroom. More than likely, she's being visited by somebody who is astrally projecting.
Okay.
So you think the orbs are people that are astrally projecting?
Right. Let's say I go to sleep tonight. All right. And let's say I'm thinking of Jennifer. All right. I'm thinking of Jennifer as I'm falling asleep. All right. That thought is enough to project my sleeping soul, because everybody's soul leaves their body when they're asleep. All right. My soul goes and just visits Jennifer, but it's not like I have a body. It's just I'm just a spirit orb, a soul orb that went and decided, because of the subconscious, you're thinking about it, went and gave her a visit.
Gotcha.
I mean, I see what you're saying.
I see what you're saying as well. Real quick. So Robert, then, if that's the case, then this whole idea that we're kind of tying this together because we're running out of time here. I want to make sure we get to this point. Is that this whole human aura thing? Do you think, like you're describing, sort of in this astral projection sense, that maybe this is what's actually happening. Like, you see the aura through the orb, right? Like, so in a physical presence, you're there, and maybe somebody's visiting you either through a dream, astral projection, remote viewing, this sort of thing, depending on how, of course, you define these things. Then maybe what you're actually seeing is the presence of somebody, just not in their physical form. Instead of the typical ghost,
Correct.
it's sort of a spirit walking situation where people have an out of body experience and go somewhere else, something like that, right?
Absolutely. That makes the most sense to me. All right. I think it certainly would explain ghosts to some degree, but sometimes you run into ghosts who have, who are dressed in clothing that might be a century or two old, something from the past. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when you're seeing that, you're seeing a person, a ghost. But when you're seeing orbs, all right, you're seeing somebody who has come visiting you, somebody who's alive, who may be very much in a meditative state or asleep, and has decided, whether willfully or unwillfully, to come and say howdy.
Okay, and so what about the other idea then? So you don't think that these spirit orbs, in any sense, are actually dead spirits? You think they're alive spirits?
No, I think they're very much connected to the body they come from. All right, they're not departed. They're just spirit walkers. All right, soul walkers. They're people who are. I've read some stories, some research done where when somebody projects, willfully projects, astral projects, that's what they see themselves as, an orb.
Oh, that's wild. Okay, all right. So people have described that experience in sort of either dream walking, astral projection, this type of thing, as manifesting as a particular orb. That's wild, man. I love it. I love the idea.
Yeah. Okay.
Right on.
I'd like to hear what other people think of that. But,
okay.
But isn't that kind of creepy, though?
I think so. It means you're being spied on.
I can go to sleep tonight. I can go to sleep, go up to my bedroom and pull up the covers and maybe read a little bit and shut the lights off, and suddenly I'm seeing 3 or 4 orbs in my room. All right, I'm just assuming that they're friends of mine.
You hope
that are themselves and have come and just dropped by for a cold something. I don't know, but really that's whoever's walking through, whatever orb's coming into your room is not sinister. It's somebody you know.
Okay, I see.
Or else they wouldn't be there.
I see. Mm-hmm. Right. Because they'd be thinking about somebody else. They do know, right? That makes some sense.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
Totally. You're not going to just think about random people you don't know. Perfect. I love the idea. What's your final thought here, Robert? We'll get takes from James and Axel, and go right ahead, sir.
I'm completely out of thoughts. So I'll just end this call and listen to what the responses are.
Okay, you got it, brother. Thanks for the phone call. You're the best.
Thank you, Michael. Talk to you later.
Appreciate it. Robert in Pennsylvania, thanks for being patient. He's got a book called Stories from a Fractured Mind. He doesn't call for me to plug his book. I do because it's good. Check it out. Links in the description. It says Robert's book here. Let's go to James. James, what's your take on what Jennifer said and what Robert said? Go right ahead. We've had you quiet for some time, so all your time, my friend.
No worries. No, I love hearing the calls, so it's no problem. Yeah, as I said, this conversation has been kind of ongoing now for a little over a week with various friends, Jennifer included, and so yeah, this is I really enjoyed both of their calls, and so yeah, I like the idea of the life force. There was something earlier and I lost it. I should have written it down somehow. But anyway, no, just great calls and very interesting ideas. I do think it's just like ghosts. and orbs, we really don't know what they are. And I think, just like ghosts, they can be any number of things. Kind of like what Robert was saying as well. Not all ghosts are the same, and I don't mean just in their appearance. I mean in terms of, and I've said this before, some can be spirits of those that have passed. Some can be people astral projecting. I believe I've done that in some cases before myself. Not intentionally, but it's happened. So I think there's that just again points to we really can't say for sure what these orbs are.
Yeah, interesting. And so how do they mix, though? Interesting how Robert said that he thinks that they're not spirits of sorts. They're maybe tethered spirits, right? Alive spirits. They're connected to some body somewhere, and they're kind of doing their thing. And I think, actually, that's a great way to mix the idea of auras and spirit orbs. If your essence, whatever this happens to be, your soul or whatever comes out of you, and it is your something, right? Whatever you want to call it, spirit, soul, this, that, the other thing, that maybe it carries that aura along. Maybe that's part of what people are seeing, right? As you sort of manifest in these spirit orbs. Who knows? I have no idea there. Copy that, Derek. So cool. Derek said he can hop on after the top of the hour here. But yeah, I don't know. So how do they mix, I guess is the question. Axel, 1 minute. Boil it down.
Ooh,
you think
1 minute.
You think the two things are related? You're welcome to stay, of course, after, but we have to, radio break and all that.
I know. You know what? That it does make some sense that auras are connected to living people, and so maybe these orbs are also connected to living people. Certainly, if they share the same colors, I don't have enough information to really make a judgment about that. But yeah, if there's a weird aura, there's a weird orb in your life that shares an aura with the person that's alive, that's interested in you, they're probably connected. I mean, that'd be my take.
All right. I love it. So as always, right, we're just individuals. We're just talking about crazy ideas. And that's what we do on this show, get together and have conversations. And so I don't know. At the end, what do you think? We didn't really make a compelling case, in my opinion, of why auras and spirit orbs are related. But, well, you're in luck, because maybe we can, now that we got some ideas to kind of maybe stitch the two together. Because, of course, if you're listening to us on the Fringe FM, stay tuned for Joe Roop Lighting the Void. If you're not, and you're listening to us on any other platform, including the podcast feed, stay tuned for a third hour of Troubled Minds, as we discuss this idea. These spirit orbs, these auras of living human beings, are they related somehow? People see things, people report things, people even say they have them on camera, including orbs and auras. So, what are your thoughts? It's up to you. I'm not the answers guy, I'm the questions guy. So, like I said, well, where are we at time-wise? Make sure everything's nicely lined up perfectly. We do this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific. And of course, please give James a follow. James of Salcedo Paranormal, my co-host tonight. Very, very good stuff from him as always. You can find his link in the description down below. It says follow James here. And he does paranormal stuff 5 nights a week, Monday through Friday. And he goes at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And you could join those shows live on his Discord. Links in the description. Go say hi to James. Come meet all these fine folks. Join the Discord if you have not. Axel's there as well. And as we finish, it goes a little something like this. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night. All right, we are now off the Fringe FM, which means if you have a potty mouth and you need to drop an F-bomb, now is your time. We're still talking about this idea. What about these human auras? Colors, spirit orbs, how do these relate? Or do they not at all? Or do you think it's all horse shit? That's fine by me.
Yep.
That's there you go. That's excellent. All horse shit. That's the deal.
No,
right?
I was going to say, now this is when we get loose.
Oh, this is when you can let your hair down. We'll just say let your hair down. So that's the thing. What do you think? Human auras, spirit orbs, related? We're here with my good friend, of course, James Salcedo of Salcedo Paranormal. Please follow him down below. Links in the description as always. And of course, Axel Steele. We got Night Stalker coming up. We're going to take a quick 2-minute break. 2-minute break. More Troubled Minds on the way. We're still talking about this. Is there something to this, or do you think? Tell me what you think. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link, troubledminds.org. Be right back. Don't go anywhere. More Troubled Minds on the way. All right, welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, DLive, and Twitter. And, of course, we're here with my good friend James Salcedo of Salcedo Paranormal. Please, I implore you, give this man a follow. A good friend of mine doing good work over there in the podcast medium. It's become a thing, hasn't it, this podcasting thing? And he does great work over there. He's started with just paranormal stuff, but he's branched out to all kinds of things. He's doing book reviews. He's talking about paranormal news now. He's again, this is how things evolve, right? You start with one thing, you're like, this is what I want to do, and then the things kind of take on they become a beast of their own, and you're just like, wow, shit, how do we get here, right? Like this idea, a sprinkle of that, some collaborations with some great people, and suddenly you're like, well, here we are. Like I said, I never in my wildest dreams with this show, it was like the first inkling of like, wow, if we started this show to one day have people call in and just be able to give us amazing takes, right? Like that was literally the dream from the beginning. And look what happened. Like, this is exactly what's happening. We get amazing people calling with amazing takes and all the crazy stuff we talk about. It's pretty wild. And thank you all for that. Thanks for being part of it and doing the thing. So we're still taking your phone calls as we discuss all this. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubleminds.org. Let's go to, we're still here with James and Axel. Let's go to Derek. Derek in Massachusetts, the Night Stalker. Now, this is the call everybody's been waiting for. The party can now begin. What's up, Derek?
Don't say that. What's going on, you guys?
Don't say that.
You guys are crushing it all night. Don't say that. I got a few thoughts, though.
Sure, go ahead.
I have a bunch of stuff written down, but Jennifer and Robert kind of answered a lot of my questions that I had written down. So I'll still kind of ask them just because of synchronicity's sake, the fact that they answered them. But first, like, as far as like the orb footage, orb like pictures and stuff, like orbs are trippy because they do kind of fall into every different type of like fringe category. There's orbs in basically every different paranormal field, you know. So I like that like intersection between all the different realms, you know. So when I first got into it, it was with my boss. He was seeing orbs at his house, like these like softball size, like glowing balls of light that were like roaming around his yard, and he was seeing them indoors. And he caught a bunch of them on his like home security camera because we work overnight, so he installed like the home security camera to make sure there's no like burglars and stuff. And he caught this like these wild orb footages, and I have like one of them on my old phone. I'll try to post it again, but it was just too big the last time. But it's absolutely bizarre. It's definitely not glare. It's definitely not a bug, but it's like these like four like almost like golf ball, baseball size balls of light that are like rotating, kind of like rotating energy inside these small little balls, but they were like all in a row together, like hanging bells, kind of moving in unison around, like slowly around the room. And then they started to like split to become like 8 balls that were like all spinning together. And in the background, there was another one like single on its own. I'll try to post it. It's absolutely wild, but I'm like, what the hell is that? So I did a bunch of research, and there's all kinds of like classic angelic sightings, like cherubim and seraphim being described as like 4 balls of light kind of connected like that. So I don't know, the orb angle can take in all kinds of different crazy places, you know.
Yeah, just real quick for you before you forget, if you can't upload it somewhere and it's too long, and you maybe want something trimmed out or whatever, upload it to YouTube, make it unlisted, send it to me, and tell me what you want trimmed out. I can video edit it and trim some of that stuff out. So just so you know, you have that option. Just put it straight to YouTube, and that's the best way to host it. So go right ahead with your thoughts, though.
Okay. Yeah, it's not my personal footage, so I felt weird about posting it to YouTube. But yeah, I'll ask my boss and see what he says. But as far as like I'm just gonna go kind of in order of the notes I've written down. As far as like the aura situation is concerned, like I was wondering before, like who has an aura? Like what actually creates the aura? Is it the human soul? Is it consciousness? Because under animism, like everything has consciousness. So does a rock have an aura, and then does a bug have an aura, that type of stuff. And then Robert kind of gave his opinion on that, which I tend to agree with, but then it gets into weird, trippy things like, do robots have auras? Like if machines, do they have auras? Like if not, like, I don't know. Does a person in a coma have an aura? Does a person who like gets the plug pulled on them like a vegetable? Do they have auras? Like, what is it based on? And
well, I will just say that I don't necessarily agree with this, but in the Aleister Crowley tarot tradition I'm familiar with, only humans have auras.
Okay.
But because only humans have a spark of the divine from sort of the Gnostic realms. And so your aura comes from your connection in that way. Not saying I agree with it. That is the stance there.
Yeah. Like it makes sense. So then is that spark of the divine? Is that the soul? Is that and then people, like, when they describe it, a lot of times they describe your soul as being like dim, or being like really loud, like distractingly loud, or being like really murky, like clouded up. So is it based on like your chakra points, if they're open and closed, and the amount of energy you're giving and receiving in, and that type of stuff affect your colors? Or how, like,
do you mind if I give you a 30-second version of Gnosticism?
No.
So real quick, the idea with Gnosticism mostly is that the demiurge created our world, the material world, but he wasn't. He's like the least creation of the overworld, and so when he creates our world, he can make physical things, but he can't breathe life into anything because he lacks that power. And so, in order to actually make living human beings, he can make animals, he can't make people. But in order to bring people into our world, he has to steal the essence from sort of the spiritual overworld and breathe that into people. And so the idea is that we have human souls, but at some level they're stolen from like this higher spiritual realm that the demiurge like captured us from, which is why you have to secret knowledge and get out of it and stuff like that. But in that view of events, which is Aleister Crowley's view in the tarot cards, we have auras because we're from that higher realm, but other things don't.
Wow, that's really cool. It's not like connected to anything else I have in my notes, so I'm gonna like continue with my notes as if it didn't happen. But I want to just I want to say I think it's very, very cool what you just said.
I'm not saying it's true. It's just
no, that's very cool. I like the Gnostic stuff a lot. But yeah, so in my notes here, just my questions that I had written down were like, how not physical is it, but how, like, is it like a signet? Do people, can you recognize somebody based on your aura, or is it constantly changing based on mood? Is it like you're wearing your mood outside your body, kind of like your mind outside of your body? Or if like someone was like highly trained in it, could they identify a person wearing like a hood and a cloak based on just on their aura, And if that's the case, do you leave some type of like oral signature? If you like leave a room, can you tell if the person has been there based on like some kind of essence that was left from a person's energy that they gave off, or something like that? In which case, like, what does that mean? Like, what actually, like, people, I don't know. These are all types of questions, like kind of the metaphysical anthropology we got to kind of do to investigate what's going on,
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead.
But then as far as like orbs, I love the astral projection idea. I think like that was when we were first theorizing, like me and my boss, about what it could be. Like one of the first ideas was maybe it's somebody just dreaming, some like person astral projecting. But also there's so much orb stuff tied into other paranormal realms. Like there's ghost lights and orbs around Bigfoot and different cryptid phenomena. There's a ton of UFO orb stuff. Like there's the orb summoners who are summoning UFO orbs. Like, what are those? Like what does that mean? Is that like is an orb like the consciousness of a thing, or is it a vehicle that the consciousness is riding in from a space or another dimension, or like is the thing the orb itself, or is like or is it like a Merkaba, like a vehicle, like driving around these entities, And then like there's a lot of orb weirdness with the Michael Cleland orb and owl synchronicity stuff. The idea of like the abduction phenomena and like screen memories and like weird orbs, and I don't know, like it's too complex to even try to get into. But it's just like there's more questions than there are answers as far as like what the orb situation's happening, you know. And like I have a friend who astral projects, and she says that she like is herself. She's like has the same outfit she wears all the time when she's doing it, but she's a human person like floating around. So if you see her, you're going to see the person. So it gets murky as far as astral projection too. Like I just don't think we have the maps. I don't think we have the terms. I don't think we have anything really concrete down. So I kind of just love throwing the weird ideas and seeing where it crosses over. You know, what do you guys think?
Yeah,
I have one synchronicity.
Definitely. Axel. James, what do you think? James, what do you think? You're hey, hold on. You're bogarting James's time here. He's the co-host, Axel. So please wait. It's a conversation among many people. James, go ahead, please.
The UFO thing is really interesting. APOC mentioned to me the other day, and this is kind of part of this conversation, that there are even astronauts that have seen these light orbs out in space.
Yeah.
Near and around the spacecraft and everything. So they really are seen out in space, up in the various levels of the sky, closer to the ground, inside buildings, outside buildings. They're really seen everywhere, and that's why I feel like they can be so many things. They can be spirits. They can be astral projection, people astral projecting, possibly. They can be almost like just what we can see of different beings that maybe are bigger than what the orb is.
Exactly.
We just can't see what it is because it's outside of this dimension or slightly off. Or any number of things like that. Because the other thing about these orbs is sometimes they're seen in clusters or even just solo, but they're seen up high, like either in trees or in some cases they're seen near power wires.
Oh, jeez.
Telephone pole wires.
Yeah.
And so there's that whole electricity thing. Are there some that feed off of that energy that those lines are giving off? Are there some that feed off of the energy maybe that trees give off? Maybe that's how they started in some cases, but then going into today, they figured out, the trees can give out this energy, but these poles and these wires these people have made, they give off maybe even more energy. So there's so many things as to what they could be, and that's the thing that really is, again, like you said, Derek, that's the thing that really interests me in all this as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think it runs the gambit as far as like what they possibly could be. I think as far as like the outside of our perception type thing, that's what's really trippy. I think that what if it's just like you said, just kind of like when you break down our physical reality, like what we see is a very, very small spectrum of what's actually there. Like we know this, we don't know what's actually out there. We know we can't see infrared, we can't see microwaves, we can't hear dog whistles, all that kind of stuff. So what we see is like white light, which would be like these white light orbs or whatever. And then kind of the basis, the building blocks of reality are like these platonic solids, like spheres and cubes and pyramids and that kind of stuff. So it's just like, what if it's just some type of energy just moving through our realm, and then the only piece of it that we can perceive is just this white light orb, you know? That's just what our mind is giving. Our five senses are taking in the information, and just what our mind is giving us is just this energy ball that's moving across, you know? And then what it could actually be, just, I don't know, runs up and down the line of how many different realms are there, which could be infinite, you know? Which, again, I think is really cool. But, Axel, sorry, you can go ahead.
No, I don't. I honestly don't remember what I was going to say, so let's move on.
Right on. Let's do it. So thank you, Derek the Night Stalker. What else you got? Anything else for us while we got you on?
I had a quick comic synchronicity here real quick. There was
sure
a comic from a character from DC Comics, who I'd never heard of before. I looked it up. But her name's Halo. She was in just one random Batman comic from the 80s. And she's like a member of the Outsiders or whatever. But I'm just going to read from her DC wiki. Halo was a gestalt of a human woman named Violet Harper and Oracle, but it's spelled really weird, like an alien. An ancient energy being resembling a sphere of iridescent light. The oracle species emerged from the source billions of years ago at the dawn of time. When sociopath Violet Harper was murdered by cyanide, an operative of the 100 and Tobias Whale, the oracle, who had been observing her out of curiosity, was sucked into the newly vacant body, reanimating the deceased body. The shock of the death and the resurrection induced a profound loss of memory in the new combined entity. She was subsequently found and recruited by Batman to serve as a member of the Outsiders because he's a psychopath. But her power set is that she has different color-changing auras, and each aura color represents a different power she can use. So like violet is self-healing ability, blue is she can duplicate herself, green's holograms, orange she can fly, red is energy beams and stuff. But that's literally like an alien being who is an orb. Like that's the entire being. It's just an iridescent light ball that animates a dead vessel, and then like the power set is auras, which I just thought that was cool. Like an hour and a half ago, you know. Wow. But yeah, that's all I got though. But great show, you guys. Great stuff, James. Great stuff, Axel. Mike, awesome show as always.
Thank you very much.
Topic.
Take care, my friend.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Have a great one. Derek here is, of course, the Night Stalker, the famous Night Stalker. He's got a YouTube channel. It's just a trailer right now, so everybody scroll down and give him a follow on YouTube. Let's inspire him to make more content. Wouldn't that be the most hilarious thing? He's got one video, and he just gets a ton of follows because of us. Let's do it. Great dude and a good friend of mine, and he's always got an amazing take. Thank you so much. We got tons of people to get to. Quick take on that, James, and then we'll go to Axel real quick, and then we got MJ on the phone. James.
Yeah, that's interesting, the way that one character is like that, because it reminds me, and they're not an alien, but that reminds me of Legion from the X-Men comics, who has each personality of his that he has, these multiple personalities. Each one is a different mutant with a different power. So he can literally, you never know what power. I think at some points in his life he didn't have control over that ability, so you never knew what kind of power he was going to get or what kind of personality he was going to get. But then eventually he got control over it, and yeah, it's they were each personality had its own power and everything. So that's really wild that could be. That's almost like the different shades of an aura in a way as well.
Yeah, pretty wild. I love it. Axel, go ahead. Quick take, and then we'll go to MJ.
That's fine. Halo was a character created in 1983 by DC Comics in The Brave and the Bold, number 200. That's all I got.
Okay,
just give me some people
Okay, perfect. 702-957-1037. I see you there, Kelly. I see you there, Matt. Hang tight. MJ's been waiting almost 20 minutes. Let's go to MJ in Virginia. MJ, you're on Troubled Minds. Go right ahead.
Hey, Michael. How you doing?
Doing good.
What I find fascinating is that you could see someone's colored aura, the colors on their body. And where do the colors come from? You know, you're looking at them, and suddenly you see the auras, different colors. And what I always found out is they're projecting from the within their emotions or what they're thinking about at that moment. You know, what they're going through or they're planning for the day. You'll see different colors that way. As far as orbs, that's a different thing altogether.
Okay, so they're not related at all. They're not related, is what you're saying.
Well, the thing is, they're related. I learned something the last couple of days, and something I've been doing for a long time, but I didn't know what anybody called it. And it's a form of meditation. It's called Zen meditation, and you meditate with your eyes open. And it's all related because you open your consciousness up to see it, but they're two separate things. Orbs, to me, are a form of consciousness. Either you send your consciousness out, like astral project, or you astral project to your third eye, or you're literally, you are that little light that's flying around, that little orb of light flying around. That is the consciousness, and that is the being.
Okay, all right. So not directly related, but I guess it's kind of indirectly related. Interesting. I love the take. And you did say that you can see these things, right? You've told me in the past that you can see these orbs all the time, don't you?
Yeah, orbs are big with me. I don't know why, but they're just there. I've seen orange, dark purple, and of course the white ones. That's the most common. But the orange ones are usually, that's connected with UFOs, always. I've seen that several times. I was out in Arizona, I see it a lot. Here I haven't seen much of anything. More the white and the dark purple is connected with, again, the type of Zen meditation. I've seen that once, and it forms like little dark purple. And I thought it was black at the beginning, and it's actually a really deep purple. But it's literally these little dots of really deep purple form, but they gather up. If you're looking at the sky, they'll gather up. It'll just be this dark orb, still orb. It's still. It doesn't move around. It's still of a deep purple. And then you have the little white orbs flying around that.
Okay, that's pretty wild. And so, so you have to be in a meditative state to see these things, or they just kind of pop? Like let's say you're going to buy a Coke from a Coke machine, right? Is like an orb just pop up above the thing? You know what I'm saying? I mean it in like a goofy context, but are you just like, I don't know, like putting gas in the car or something, and like an orb flies by, or do you have to literally be like sort of expecting them, sort of in like a state? You know what I mean?
No. Well, the thing is, it's not. You don't have to go that much of a deep of a state to see them. That's not that difficult to do. You could have a very relaxed mind, just kind of, hanging out, not thinking about anything, putting your gas in the car, and your mind's just floating around. Suddenly, you just see it. It's not that deep of a level. It's very light, actually. The deeper you go, that will change. It gets deeper and more. You can expand on it more. But yeah, you can just have a very relaxed mind, hanging out, not doing a whole lot, and you know how you do stuff that's so repetitive, your mind sort of just shuts off.
Yeah, autopilot they call it. Yeah,
it's the same thing. That's autopilot. That's all you really need. But
okay.
You're just kind of zooming along, and you see an orb go through your car.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. So this stuff is very real. This is not a bunch of horse shit. This is actually real stuff.
Oh, it's real. It's very real.
Okay. All right. What else you got for us, my friend?
Well, something Robert mentioned, and what I started thinking about was he's, doing astral projection or, your out of body thing. And I was thinking, because every once in a while something will come through the house. But okay, fine. And I really started thinking about it. It could be someone who's basically dead. They're still hanging out, and they're it's a full body apparition, but the only thing you're going to see is the light in their brain, that little white light, but they're actually standing there or floating through your house, but it's in full body, but you can't see the body. Early on, in back way when I was like 21 or 22, I ran into this guy. I was working at a hot dog stand in Crystal City, Virginia, and this guy comes up and just starts talking about ghost hunting, and I was living in a haunted house. I thought, what the hell? So I got with him, and we went to a row house in Georgetown, and, he wanted psychic impressions, so I got psychic impressions. We went up to the third floor, and this woman that was the curator there, after the clothes went up, and we're sitting there, and we wanted to make this apparition appear, make him, so we could see him. And the closest we got was you could see the outline of the body, but the way you saw it was this blue and red orbs just start flying back and forth, but it was inside the body. If it flew outside the body, you didn't see it, but it kept going back and forth in the body, so we could see the outline of the person. And it was a big guy, but he came up from, Annapolis, Maryland. The Naval Yard there. He would come down from there. But it was back in the early 1900s, something they had it.
Gotcha. Okay, sweet. Good stuff. I appreciate it very much. MJ, a good friend of the show, good friend of mine. I appreciate the phone calls, appreciate the takes. We got people we got to get to. Thanks for being patient on the phone line. Thanks for giving us your take as always. You're the best, brother. Talk to you soon.
All right.
Have a great night. There you go. MJ in Virginia. 702-957-1037. Thanks everybody for being patient. Let's get back to James real quick. Axel's take, and then we'll get to Kelly. James, take on that?
Yeah, the idea of only seeing the light in someone's brain and where their mind would be, that is fascinating because that could explain why some sightings where the light appears to be more steady. In other words, it's not going up or down. You know what I mean? It's mainly stationary, or if it moves around the room, it never changes its height. It moves around, but not up or down. And then that makes you think of maybe it is like MJ said, just a person, whether it is someone that's out of body or a spirit. Either way, it's just a person walking around, but all you're seeing is that one basically their energy core. That's where their mind would be. It's just a really interesting idea.
Definitely, Axel, go ahead.
I mean, the things have come and gone, and I didn't want to interject because I know we have to move on. But I'm very interested in the idea that he lived in a haunted house. Someday I'd like to hear more about that.
Yeah, we've got MJ's got a lot of great stories. I think at some point we need to just get him on as a guest and just go the whole show with MJ. Shout out to MJ, great stuff as always. Let's go to Kelly in Colorado. Thanks for being patient, my friend. Go right ahead. Is he still there? Kelly.
Yes.
He may have fallen asleep. Kelly.
Oh no!
What's up, brother? How are you? What's up, my man? It's like I sneak up on you. You're like, oh God, I've been waiting for so long, and I'm like, go, you're up. It's like, oh shit. Okay, go ahead. What's up, bro?
It kind of goes, into that lock mode, so I had to log back off.
Yeah, all good. Thanks for being patient. What do you think, man? What about the auras, the spirit orbs relation, or no? And everything else, not just, but back to the topic. Go right ahead.
There's a lot of great takes tonight, and so I'm just kind of brush over, what other people have already talked about, right? So, but then I want to add something to it, but
sure.
Yeah, man, that Carolyn photography, which is pretty crazy, right? So, we already know that it's electrical. What it does is capture the electrical coronal discharge of the body, right? Mm-hmm. And if you cut your finger off, right, or they cut part of a plant or a leaf or something off, it still shows it. It's got the outline of it like it's still there. So I would like to, and the reason why I would kind of bring that up, and they use it in photography where it says that they say that you can see your aura, right? And a lot of the ancient, some of that ancient stuff too. She was correct. Jennifer was correct when she was talking about like with chakras, because that's what's part of your. It's actually 2 in 1. They claim it as 2 in 1 because if your chakras are in the line is gonna you also your body will give off those auras. Right? So the colors. Excuse me. Hold on, I'm gonna get a drink.
Me too. I need a drink after this. No, during this. Fuck it. I'm not waiting until after. I'm just taking a drink right now. Yeah. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. Whenever you're ready.
Yeah, with the chakras, right? So, and if that's the case, so all that does it follows too the outer chakra or the outer body aura and the top chakra, right? The 7 chakras. So it's going to go all the way down 7 through 1, and each one of them has got a color too that is based off of them. Chakra, the top one, the crown chakra is it's the purple. It's the casual body. Then you have celestial. Astral, mental, and emotional. Just all of them just have their own different color and stuff, right? And each one, which is interesting, when we were talking about when someone talked about with the third eye, right? That's the 6th chakra. That's one with aspect. And what Robert said kind of blew my mind. I want to get to that a little bit later on, but what he said, that's kind of it almost makes sense on a lot of stuff that people have seen with these orbs. But for me, I look at it as this, right? So we know everything is pure energy, right? So it's like the Higgs boson. They call it the God particle, where energy turns into mass, right? So and then in reverse is death, right? When you leave yourself. But at the same time, when you're astral projecting, right, you could also do that as well. It's kind of you would think that it would probably be an orb. That's what Robert said. It kind of fractured my mind on that one. And at the same time, we're electrical pulses. Everything in the body, all the way down to your cells, gives off an electrical pulse. Right? Everything vibrates. Nothing stands still. So if that's the case, and we're humans, we're doing that. So like every movement that you're doing with your arms or whatnot, right? It's an electrical pulse that your brain sends off to your muscles. So, and to thinking that with your aura, right? So, and your chakras, that kind of, with me, I look at that as like the Buddhist monks. So if you're all your, before you're passing, and they're all obviously with their meditation and everything they've done, their chakras have to be in line. They're giving off that aura. So maybe that's why, so that multiple color like that, maybe that's why they call it the rainbow body. It's before they pass over, and that's the light they're given. That's what I think too, because it is, it's what, especially what Robert says when you're astral projecting, and it could be these balls of light. But you have examples of these weird things that people record, and they're not UFOs. They seem to be like they have like a body or a shape, or some of them look like were groups that you guys were talking about. They look like they're all holding hands, and they're these ones are like filmed in Mexico. And they're all in a, like holding hands, going in a circle. Maybe if that's the case, if we're talking that, like with Robert's theory, which is great, that was a good one. I kind of believe that too. If that's the case, maybe it's a group of people that are astral projecting together. And sometimes, like, I don't know what his name was, but he was saying that it went from 4 to 8, right? Maybe there's just people who are just joining in or learning to, join that practice, at the same time. And maybe that's what we're seeing. And if that's the case, if we can do that, and I have astral projected, but you had to be in some deep meditation. It's not something that, it can click on and off. But maybe, people see these, because for me, everybody's pure energy anyway. So, and if you're astral projecting like that, and maybe these, I don't know, let's say aliens or different, species are doing the same, because they're highly intelligent. If they can space jump and everything else, and you're thinking that, they're astral projecting too, because people say they talk, they really don't talk to them, it's a mental thing, it's, they're using, what's that word for it?
Telepathy.
Yeah, they're using telepathy, right? So if they're doing that, it's almost be like the same thing, is that you can astral project. So maybe, just maybe, that the angels that people seen, because even let's go back to, some people thought, like with auras and stuff too, like old paintings of like like especially examples of like all religious paintings, right? And they have they show angels, right, or these people that are like saints or something, and they always show them with like a halo, or like their heads are glowing, gold or something, a different color. But maybe that's what they were seeing, is that their aura.
Yeah, wild stuff here, and I think basically if you toss it out kind of in a cursory manner for like the let's call it the uninitiated, meaning that people haven't kind of trying to merge all these worlds of ideas, like the people that watch like the ghost shows on TV or whatever. Like if you say auras, orbs, it doesn't seem related. I don't know. The more you talk about it, the more you think about it, I think somehow, some way, there is a relation here. And I do like the idea of astral travel and basically, how would you appear, right? So, or remote viewing even, right? Like Courtney Brown and the Farsight organization, farsight.org, some of the most renowned remote viewers in the world, has said that when they remote view things, sometimes people that are there notice they're there. And they literally turn and look at them like they're an orb or something, right? Like they don't see them as like their physical embodiment. They see them as something that's spying on them, right? Sort of and I was going to make the joke earlier. It's like, this is like Big Brother on steroids, right? Like if Robert said, if you're like, well, it's because I was thinking about you, and boom, then there I am, right? And so it may not be like a direct weirdo sort of spying, but hey, if this is what's going on with some of these orbs, maybe they are, and that's just why maybe some people see them and some people don't, right? It's pretty wild, man. This whole thing, I think it does come together nicely when you start to talk about all the aspects of it.
Yeah, And let me interject real quick, dude. Just one thing too. Like, so if that's the case, okay. So like we can do that. We're a light spark or something. We're floating around, and then we're a ball of, right? So now, if that's the case, and everything, like I was saying, that we're electrical beings anyway, right? So now you start packing these people in to like apartment buildings and like big tall buildings, where you go to work and stuff. That's just a big battery pack, bro. There's something sucking all that energy.
You're right. Yeah.
People live in these big ass apartment buildings, especially like in New York, these sky rises and stuff. Like, they're like what, 20, 30, 40, about 20, 30 feet, right? Or level or floors, right? Man, you're packing people in like that. Because that's another thing too. When I went to New York, you're feeling everybody. That's where the whole thing too, where people say that people can they drain your energy, because there's a lot of people in cities, man. And especially when I was in Hong Kong. I've been to a lot of different cities around the world, and I still feel that same. Man, it's just chaos. It feels, because I can feel a lot of that stuff. I feel that stuff, and if you're walking around that many people and that many different attitudes, and their auras are all over the place. That shit is draining.
Yeah, I'm the same. I get around a crowd of people, and it just it kind of takes it out of me. It's and so I'm not sure I'd call myself an empath. I call myself paranoid. Sorry.
Yeah.
Cough button. But I don't know. Like, how does all this relate? Amazing stuff. Good shit, Kelly. We got Matt behind you. What else you got for us?
No, man, that's it. I want to hear what Matt's got.
You're the best, brother. Kelly in Colorado, longtime friend of the show, good friend of mine. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for giving us your take. Tell Michelle we said hello, okay? Matt in California. Go right ahead, sir. Welcome to Troubled Minds. Sorry for making everybody wait. I know that we're kind of backed up tonight. I didn't realize it was going to go sort of on the back end of like all the calls. James and I went for like an hour with like almost nobody, and then suddenly everything. So here we are. Matt in California, go right ahead. Welcome to Troubled Minds.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Doing well. Just kicking it, man. Talking about weird shit on a Monday like we do. What are your thoughts on this?
Thank you.
Matt, by the way, is the one, just a shout out so everybody knows, Matt is the one who inspired this show. He called in last week and was kind of taking it to like a different thing, and it's perfect. And so it spawned an entire other show. So go right ahead. What are your thoughts, my friend?
Oh yeah, thank you for having me on, and thank you for doing this. I'm glad that people are liking this kind of conversation. Yeah, it seems like people are liking it.
Pleasure's ours, man. 100%. Go right ahead.
Love to hear you, Matt.
Yeah, I just want to say before I start, I've been studying this for over 20 years. And so all this stuff is my, my beliefs, my experiences, my thoughts. I'm not trying to convince anybody. I'm not trying to say, 1,000% real. I'm just trying to put it out there. And the whole point of all this is I want to help people, and I want people to be healthy and feel good. And this type of thing, even though it is kind of a supernatural or paranormal, you want to call it, I think there might be benefits in learning about it. So I started from the beginning talking about what would Nikola Tesla say. If you want to understand the universe, you have to think in thought, vibrations, frequency, and energy. And in our world, we don't think about it like that. We are anchored in this physical world, and we're always we think everything is what we see with our eyes or things that we could touch, the physical world. But there's so much more to that. And talking about like you can't see Wi-Fi, it's there. We know it's there. So what is it? The energy, And everything comes from light. Light is energy. And so this whole like chakras and auras thing, I think is there. So I want you to imagine that you have a bubble, a sphere around you, like an egg shape. That's your aura. Whether you can see it or not, you can feel it, and other people's too. And so when you're like when you're in a crowded place, when you're on a bus, and you're agitated, it's because you're mingling with everybody else's aura. And so you have this light of aura around you. And these things, like if you have like rips or tears in your aura, that, or like a weak aura that will like damage you. So things like when people say like your words are abrasive, or like a knife stabbed me in the back with a knife, those are literal things that are, breaking your aura. And if you have rips or tears in your aura, that can cause your energy to leak out. And so we need to heal this aura. We need to heal each other around this bubble. And something that Kelly said that got me, pictures of Jesus and Mother Mary, and how there's like a light of, like, that's what looks like, a light of halo around them, or they call it halo. And even back to Egyptian, when you see like pictures of Isis, the goddess Isis, you'll see like they have a circle, like a halo above their head. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, so not only that too, it sometimes interestingly, like people think of the term halo as like kind of like the the little like circular metal piece that floats over the head, but in many of that like let's say Renaissance art, and even further back, like you said, back to the Egyptians, sometimes the halo is really big. It's sort of almost like large, like angel wings, right? Like sort of over the back of the head in a very large way. Yeah, I love the connection. Go right ahead.
Yeah, and that comes to like there's layers. So these layers, they superimpose over your body, and that's where the chakras are inside your body. And so each layer is like, it's kind of like an onion. Your physical body, the physical body is the middle part of the onion. Each layer is kind of like a layer out of you. And so there's like, I can't remember all of them off the top of my head, but there's like the physical body, and then it's like the emotional body, so your thoughts or your emotions, and then there's the mental body, is your mind, and it goes out in layers. And so all these things, like when you think something, it's in your aura. When you have emotions, it's in your aura, and that's what people are picking up on when they're like around each other in auras.
Yeah.
So anything.
Right? So this is real then. So this is real. I know, like, you're the one again who inspired this show. Again, thank you for all the amazing phone calls and all the amazing interaction. And again, thanks for meeting up with me in Vegas here. And Lacey, your wife, it was a very good time. I think the thing here is that this is real. This stuff is real, right? It's like again, like I said this when I was like a 20-year-old, and this is like one of my proud moments of my life as a 20-year-old. I had a novel thought. And now, right after years of troubled minds, it doesn't seem so novel, but as a 20-year-old, it did at the time, is that just because we can't see it doesn't mean it's not real. And we're not qualified to determine what God is or isn't as human beings, because our cognitive ability and the thing that we can only hear a tiny spectrum of sound, so much is inaudible to us if it's too low or too high. Same thing with our vision, different spectrums of light we just can't see. And so we're literally like a poor representation of a judgment of what creation is, because we just can't see like 90% of it, or hear 90%. You know what I mean? It's like so much shit's going on out there. We have no fucking clue. And so, well, here we are. Great shit, Matt.
Yeah.
What else you got? Go right ahead.
Well, I think with the aura thing, like I said, I believe it, so it's real to me. But I think we all have it. It's an ability that we all have. We're born with the sixth sense, they call it. But we lose it over time because we don't use it. We don't exercise it. What happens when you don't exercise? You just go right back to where you were. So you have to exercise this skill to get it. And so we all have it, but you just have to exercise it. And so let's see. I'm looking at my notes. Sorry. Yeah.
I'll buy you a second. Hey, look.
No, that's cool.
Yeah, the best callers have notes. Go right ahead, Matt. The best callers have notes. It's true.
I'm just trying to.
It's true.
I'm just trying to bring it. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. What else you got?
I'm just trying to bring it to like how we have like there's Eastern mysticism and there's Western side Western medicine. I'm trying to blend them because a lot of this stuff, it's subtle. It's very you have to pay attention to the energy. And so things like acupuncture, no one wants to go to acupuncture, but everybody just wants a pill that I can take away the pain now. Nowadays in Western medicine, we just want a pill. We don't want to study these things, these mystic things, or these spiritual kind of, we call it the woo, I guess, right?
Woo woo. Choo choo. Up on the train. Up on the train, Matt. Woo woo.
Woo. All right, let's do an experiment. I showed those pictures in Discord. You can show those pictures if you want.
Okay, let me see if I can pull them up. I'll put them up on the screen. Go right ahead.
All right, we're going to do an experiment. We're going to feel our aura. So what I want you to do is, if you're sitting or standing, just kind of relax, get kind of comfortable. And I want you to put your hands together in front of you like you're praying. And so your fingers should be facing away from your body, and your palms toward your body.
Okay, I'm on board. Got it.
All right. And so like you're praying, your hands together. And now I want you to make sure your fingers are tight together, like you're scooping up water. Mm-hmm. Like when you scoop up water, you don't want the water to fall through your fingers. It's the same thing with the energy. You don't want it to fall through your fingers. So these, your fingers are tight together, and maybe curve your hands a little. And now, as you in a praying position, now kind of pull them apart about, let's say, 5-6 inches.
All right.
So your hands should be apart from each other. Now, and sometimes too, it helps if you, like for me, when I do like Reiki and stuff, I warm my hands up, like when you are cold and you like rub your hands together, like friction, try to warm up your hands, get your hands kind of warmed up, because you have chakras in your hands.
Like Mr. Miyagi, remember when he did the thing? And you ever seen that? He did the thing. He clapped and like rubbed his hands to warm them up, because you got some magic to do. Hey, you can't do cold magic. You got to do warm magic.
Yeah. So warm up your hands, because the chakras are in your hands. What we're working with. So warm up your hands, and then have them a couple inches apart, and just kind of sit there. And if you might be able to see. Some people can see it, but you might start to feel. And people feel different things. Some people feel like a wave, a pressure. Some people might feel like sparks or light, things like this. I feel, me personally, and everybody's different. Me personally, I feel a magnetic charge. Like when you flip one magnet upside down and you try to push two magnets together, and you start to feel this feeling, and you can play with it. You can kind of move your hands back and forth, or apart from each other and closer together. You start to feel this, like, and like I said, everybody's different.
You know what? I am being serious here. I actually do kind of feel the magnetic charge issue. I can sense a connection between my two hands, and I can play with it. So I'm on board here. This is working.
All right, as long as it's working. Go ahead, Matt. Wait, Matt, can you hang out? Finish this. If you can hang out, we got Robert's been on the phone for over 20 minutes. I want to get to him.
Okay.
He's probably quick. He's probably quick because he's a second call in. So I just don't want to make him wait too much longer. But I know you waited as well. So go ahead. Let's finish this exercise. If you can wait, we got time for you, as you know. So go right ahead. Let's finish this.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's a lot more. So yeah, that's just one exercise. We could just try that and play with it, and I could post that to the Discord as well, so you guys can follow along. Hopefully, you guys get some experience, and like I said, everybody's different. Be patient and have intent, and just be calm with it. Don't force it. You don't force it. It just happens. So let's go ahead. I'll mute up, and you can go ahead and go to the caller.
Okay, you can hang out with us for a bit, and I'll get back to you.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, stay right there. Thank you, Matt in California. Let's go to Robert in Pennsylvania. Go right ahead, sir. Thanks for waiting. What's on your mind?
I normally don't call back, a second time, but I forgot some things when I was.
Okay.
I didn't have all my notes together.
Yeah. See,
in the last call.
When you call in, you got to have notes.
But before I get to that, I want to refer to what Kelly was talking about.
Sure.
About orbs that are seen traveling together, and that they are people that know each other. They're just a group astral projection. I remember when I was 14 years old, I went to sleep, and the next thing I know, I was standing in my front yard. Right, we had a big yard back then, and looking up at the sky, and believe me, it was as real as sitting here, very, very real, incredibly real. Although the colors were strikingly, like HD or whatever. Anyway, I'm looking up at the sky and I'm seeing these three orbs, and I'm thinking to myself, they're diving at each other. And I'm thinking to myself, these are my friends, and they're fighting with each other. And then I heard a big bang, and I woke up in my bed, which happens a lot most of the time when it comes to an astral projection that is involuntary. All right, when you return to your body, you hear a big clap, like a big clap of thunder, and you wake up.
Is this where I make the Big Bang joke that happens in bed? Sorry, go ahead. I digress.
Well, that happens too sometimes. Depends on who you're with. Anyway, I wanted to when Matt was talking about tests, I've got 2 tests I'd like to put out there for people to consider. All right. If you're in a room and you're seeing some orbs running around, 1, 2, or whatever, all right. If you see an orb, start calling the first names of people you're most familiar with. Like, is that you, Donna? Is that you, Mark? And so forth. If you call out that orb's real name, it will morph into the translucent body of that person. You may even be able to have a mental conversation with that person.
Mm-hmm. I see. So they're,
like I said in an earlier phone call, if some orbs are coming into the room you're in, these are orbs that you know. These are people that you know who are tethered. They're asleep somewhere. They're tethered, and they're thought about you. And as a consequence, their astral body went to where you're at. So call a name. Some people you're familiar with, and see if believe me, if you hit the right name, that orb will morph into the person, translucent, but that you recognize. So
it's almost like an invitation thing. So it's like an invitation, right? So if they're there, it's kind of like the old school, right? The vampire can't come in unless you invite him, sort of thing. They're sort of there, sort of asking for a prompt in some way. And if you say their name,
but if you don't, right? If you don't tell them, if you don't call their name, and which lets them know that you are not objecting to their presence, yes. You're absolutely right about that.
That makes sense.
And then
nice.
One more test.
Sure, go ahead.
One more test. In a pitch black room, stand in front of a mirror, preferably a full-length mirror. Just stand there facing that mirror and see if in a short time you don't see your aura.
Okay, I see. All right. So are you saying you can see your own aura, and you've done it?
It's not something I'm in a habit of doing, but it's something that happened once, maybe twice.
Okay.
Because I have full-length mirrors all through this house. All right, and there's been a time like up in my in my den where I had shut the lights off and found myself facing the mirror, and I saw glow. I'm not saying it was the form of my body, but I saw the glow. All right, I'm saying I'm not guaranteeing nothing here. I'm just saying try it and see what you find out.
Okay, all right.
See if I mean, it would make sense to me because light and energy, they're basically the same thing. So if there's light, no pitch dark room, all that pitch dark room is going to do is accent that light. We sit in our lives, we're flooded with light. I've got several lamps on in my living room here, all right? So you can't see your aura, but I would say it's more, you've got a better than a reasonable chance of seeing your aura in a pitch dark room, all right, in a mirror.
Okay, all right. I will take it
under...
The
mirror would reflect the light of your aura. You would have to see it.
Okay, I'll take it under advisement.
I'm saying,
I'll try it. I will try it.
Those are 2 tests.
Okay. All right, appreciate it. Appreciate it. You're the best, bro. Have a great night. Thanks for calling. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for calling.
Robert in Pennsylvania, a good friend of mine, good friend of ours. James, your take on that. You've been awfully silent for a very long time. Thanks for being patient with all of us as we have all our takes. James, go right ahead, sir.
No, I'm wondering now is if in the whole astral projection thing, if maybe in some cases it can also depend on the state of the person who is seeing. Maybe it'll depend on the person's state of consciousness or how relaxed they are as to whether or not they'll see an orb or the shape of a person, depending on where they're at mentally or physically, and then also just who that person is. If it's someone they know, then I could see how the idea that Robert had about calling out their name, how that could work if maybe even you feel like it could be that person. So I just wonder if maybe, because the thing is with this, and I always come back to this, is I think it's hard to know anything for sure, but it would make sense to me if there are so many variables in all of this that people that are astral projecting could appear as these orbs, or they could appear as they do in the physical world. And I just wonder what causes either or of those appearances, and if it has to do with the person observing them.
Yeah, right. As always, like I was talking about, just the human being a poor judge of, let's say, things greater than ourselves. We just can't really determine a lot of that, right? Just based on our sensory perceptions of everything, right? So it does make some sense that, what the fuck is this? Right? I mean, here we are. Like, I don't know. I think the craziest part about all these conversations that we have, it gets to the point where I'm like, okay, well, I've learned a bunch more about this, that, and the other thing, but now I'm more confused. I'm more confused. Yep. Yeah, it seems like it, doesn't it? Especially since James is by the way, James Salcedo has a podcast called Salcedo Paranormal. He's a paranormal expert, I'm told. But don't call him that because he'll get super pissed off. But I'm going to say it because he can't, I'm out of his range. He can't punch me. Go ahead, James. Go ahead. Go ahead, James. Go ahead. I'm dodging.
Now, as I said the other day, I'm outnumbered now because you're not the only person to say that they think of me as a paranormal expert. So right. I will reluctantly be okay with that.
Okay, all right, there you go. It's I'm the one who started this fight, and there we go. I finished it. Oh, I take that, James. Okay, so I appreciate it very much. We got lots more people on the line here. Where do we go? Lord. Who's been quiet for the most? Axel, what's your take? What's your take, brother, on all the rest of this shit?
I'll also accuse James of being a paranormal expert, so I'll be on your side for that one.
Okay, all right, perfect.
And otherwise, I will withdraw because I want to hear what the next caller has to say.
Thank you, appreciate that, Axel. Let's go back to Kelly. Kelly's been quiet the longest. Go right ahead, Kelly. If you got more stuff for us.
Yeah, I was just thinking too, like for the whole paranormal thing, and people, talk about auras. Sometimes people say they hear they can hear hear the aura. It's like sometimes they say it's the light buzz, or even like temperature change too. So if maybe you go back to what Robert saying, if people astral projecting, and we you could hear it and have like temperature change while it's around you. Maybe that it could be something like that. You never know. But also one real quick too, like when he was talking about what was it? Those orbs like around power lines. Now if we see like with Robert when he brought that up, I mean that could go all kinds of different ways now. So what's interesting is these orbs, if it's people astral projecting, maybe these power lines are getting stuck around, they're getting trapped in there. And they're trying to bounce off of there, trying to get untrapped. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it could be. It could be. There's also, what's crazy regarding the power lines too. Ronald had a story over on Rockfan. Listen to this. I don't know if you saw this, right? Ronald says, when I was a kid in 1977, I was walking under some high-tension power lines while carrying a fluorescent light bulb, like the tube. Remember those tubes that I still have in my garage or whatever? Like those ones, the fluorescent light bulbs. He says, when I got under the power lines, it lit up like a lightsaber. People in traffic even stopped and asked how I was doing that. I told them I didn't know. What the fuck, right? Whoa.
That sounds like some slider streetlight interference, but with the power wire and the light.
Right.
Like a reverse slider kind of thing. Sorry to cut in, but that's what
good.
that made me think of.
Get it. Robert on Rockfin also added, wow, you were a conductor for the energy bleeding from the power line. And you know what's interesting too, real quick about this, like when I was reading about auras too, to kind of take us full circle here, I was like, these colors, by the way, right? The colors that are like seem to be most prevalent are very much the colors of lightsabers, right? So if you have like the angry guy with the red lightsaber, Darth Vader, right? Darth Maul, you've got all the Sith Lords have red lightsabers, right? What about the Jedi? They have the blue and the green lightsabers, right? And even Mace Windu has the purple lightsaber. It's pretty interesting how most of the colors you hear from sort of those chakra ideas, the human auras and the rest of this, seem to pretty much correlate with the lightsabers. And if you guys are super nerds, you'll know that there's a reason in the extended Star Wars universe why particular Jedi have blue or green lightsabers. It's like a particular representation of a power they have. There are healers, there are warriors. You see what I'm saying? It's interesting how, and then Robert kind of just randomly, or it's not Robert, sorry, Ronald randomly with this story that's like, oh, by the way, when I was a kid in 1977, but also that's the year Star Wars came out. What the fuck is going on? Right? Like, I thought about when I was reading this stuff tonight, James sent me a ton of links. Special thanks to James here for volunteering to do the show and being Johnny on the spot and sending me a ton of links. I was reading a bunch of the stuff he sent to me, and I couldn't help but think back to the human auras and those colors. They were kind of indicative in some cases of what the lightsaber sort of represents in the Star Wars universe. Pretty wild, right?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Or I was just gonna add real quick too. And even black, like the new Mandalorian, where he's got.
That's right. The dark saber. Yes, you're right. Yes, you're right. Holy shit.
and the scientists believe that dark matter, it's still a type of energy. It's just, it's just dark. It's just black. You know what I mean? So, or it's just too, everything. I don't know, man. For me, it's like I said, I go back to energy, and energy can be all kinds of different colors. It's not just one color. Especially like the sun. The hydrogen has got, that's a form of energy, and all stars are all different colors. So, you got to add everything. The whole rainbow. That's why I kind of like, starting this, starting with the show, I kind of just reflect with that too, is, like the monks, the whole rainbow body. Maybe that's the ultimate, everything's all lit up.
Yeah.
Go
ahead, James.
It's interesting that you mentioned this is kind of come up before again as well. Because just this last few months I've found, I think 3 stories now about these black either orbs or like teardrop shaped just blobs, and they also appear sometimes near electricity. The one was on the floor of a house, basically almost like it was pulling itself along the floor of this house where the writer saw it happening, and it was heading toward an outlet, a power outlet in the wall. And again, the power line thing. A couple of the articles I've found have talked about these black orbs being near or going or basically enveloping power lines. So and that's kind of what got me into this whole orb thing recently. Is I'd heard of all the different colors of orbs, but I hadn't really heard of the black or the dark orbs. And now that is crazy that there's an actual dark lightsaber. That's just that's blowing my mind right now.
The dark saber. Yeah, that's all real. And just started watching with Mrs. Strange the other day. The new one, the Boba Fett, the new book of Boba Fett, got a couple episodes in. I am super impressed. The guy, the Jon Favreau, Mikey's so money he doesn't even know it. You guys remember that old movie? the dude, he's directing. What was the name of that movie? I can't remember, but he's directing these new Star Wars, The Mandalorian. Like he's single-handedly, it seems, resurrecting this franchise. It's fucking good if you haven't seen it. 2 episodes in, and I'm like, wow. Like, somebody gets Star Wars. Holy smokes. It seems like all the knuckleheads recently they've been directing these movies have just, like, wrecked it. But, yeah, good shit. Who else? What else do we got? Who else is here? But Matt's been quiet for a long time. Matt, go right ahead. What's up, brother? Swingers. That's the movie, Derek. Yeah. Matt, go right ahead. What's up?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the Star Wars thing, because the lightsabers, because that the lightsabers have a crystal inside them.
They do. A Kyber crystal is called. Yes, indeed.
And so is that like the practitioner or the Jedi using that crystal to project the color through whatever color he is through his lightsaber? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. So it's sort of like an aura sort of situation. Yeah. That's wild, right?
Yeah, so let's talk about colors. Like with colors and of the aura, like you have to remember, like black is the absence of all color. It absorbs all the color. That's why a lot of magicians and witches and stuff wear all black. And then white is all the colors together. And you might notice another nerd thing, like Gandalf. When Gandalf, spoiler alert, Gandalf dies, the Balrog, he fights the Balrog, Gandalf the Grey, he comes back as Gandalf the White.
Colorless.
And even in the book, and in the books and the stories, he comes back, you see his robe is white, but if you look closely, you'll notice that his robe is not white, it's all the colors.
It's a rainbow. So also, if you're a super Lord of the Rings nerd, you'll know that Saruman, who was the leader of the council of the Astari, which are the wizards, he actually was Saruman the White. But what happened is he was supposed to be the one that opposed Sauron in the entire like darkness, and he gave that up for Saruman of many colors. And so interestingly, when Gandalf came back, he was actually Gandalf the White. But also because basically Saruman was being punished, the elder gods or whatever had also bestowed upon him both. So Gandalf was now the white, and like you're describing, the Gandalf of many colors. He had sort of been ascended to the next level of the Astari. And again, like I said, if you're a super nerd, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, you're like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? But that's okay. That's okay. I'm just saying, like, great spot, Matt. You're a super nerd just like me.
Yep. Damn nerds.
Damn nerds.
Like it's like pearl.
What's that, Kelly?
Okay.
I said it's like mother of pearl.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. It's white, but it's not. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Brilliant. Go ahead, Matt.
Okay. So can I talk about orbs for a second?
Sure.
Go to orbs. So I've been talking about this with my friend James. He's the one that got me thinking with orbs. I always thought as orbs as paranormal, like ghosts. And Robert had some good stuff on that. But and then I started thinking, well, if you see an orb and then you see a light in the sky, or what we call a UFO, what's the difference? And so shout out James, he's got me on that. Like, what's the difference between an orb floating around your house and a UFO out in space? And so, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I am super exhausted, guys, and I have to go to bed, so I do have to dip out. I love all of you, but I gotta go to bed.
Have a great one, Axel. You're the best, bro.
Night, Axel.
Take care.
Night, Axel.
Thank you. Go ahead, Matt. Actually, James propped me up. I'm going to step away, take a men's room. Yeah, I'll be right back. Go ahead, Matt. I'm listening. I got you on speakers. Go ahead.
And so, yeah, I have 2 orb stories that I've seen with my own eyes. One is where I had a friend, a buddy of mine, he passed away. And I went to visit with his wife and his kids. I was watching his kids play in this playground area, and I seen this white orb dancing around them.
Wow.
And it was like recently, it was like right after he passed, like the day after he passed away. And so I kind of chalked that up to, that was him, that was him playing with his kids.
Right.
And another orb story I have is a while back, I was in my room, me and Lacey were in my room, and we're sitting on the bed, and our cat was freaking out. And we both saw, I saw it out of the corner of my eye, and then I focused in on it, but we both saw 2 orbs floating through the room, and the lights were on. That was what was really crazy. So it was light in the room, and we saw these 2 orbs floating through the room, and they floated through the wall. And just to immediately debunk it, I say, oh, well, it was a car driving by, and when a car drives by, the lights flash through your window because it was nighttime.
Right.
But then I realized we were on the 3rd floor. So
yeah, that's kind of difficult. Yeah.
So I was just trying to debunk it. I'm not saying this or that, but yeah. So I've seen orbs with my own eyes, and also lights in the sky. So, and I think it's great that we talk about it in this context of what is it? Is it paranormal? Is it aliens? Is it the list can go on. We might be seeing the same thing, and we just don't know what to call it or how to classify it in a specific genre of what we're seeing.
For sure.
Yep.
Thank you, James.
Yeah.
I'm back. Go ahead, James.
No, and that's the thing. It just made me wonder because, like Matt was saying, they're seen everywhere. They're seen at all elevations, out in space. They're seen near power lines and outlets and things. One of the other things, and I don't know if you remember this, Mike. Maybe you could pull out the article, but one of the articles that I found, and actually APOC led me to this, is this tether, this space tether, that was, I think it was attached to one of the shuttles, and it broke off. There was a problem with it, and it broke off away from the shuttle in space. This was in the 70s. And
I got it. I'm going to read this. Across the entire... the 3 American astronauts on the way to the moon have announced that on the number 2 panel of the Space Shuttle Apollo 17, a light signal has been observed, followed by a sound signal. A few seconds later, they disappeared without the astronauts being able to discern their nature. The problem was immediately studied on Earth. A NASA delegate declared that it was not for the first time during the Apollo program that such signals have been recorded during flights. And I pulled this out because I noted this as like, holy shit, like, not just everybody on Earth is seeing it. They go to space and they're seeing this shit too. What's going on, James? Holy crap, man.
Yeah. And so then they basically, before that, they see this, they have this tether experiment and it breaks away from one of the shuttles. And as it's floating away in space, on camera, these lights appear and start surrounding this thing that no one knows for sure why it broke off, but it's powered. It has power in it. So then are they drawn to the power? And this thing went off into space where it was unretrievable, but these lights surrounded it and kept going with it. So again, that's the thing. These things are seen, and I really do think, I think there are different things. I think there are spirit orbs. Like I said, there are spirit orbs. There are out of body. There are astral projection orbs. There are maybe even other types of life forms that are just orbs or that only appear as orbs. And then there's whatever it is that's out there in space. But it amazes me that all of these different things can appear so similar to us.
So which is it? Which is it? What's the thing? Define the light in the sky, James. What is it? What is it?
It is unidentified.
It's unidentified. Back to the UFOs. Again, it's so crazy that, right? We start with like, okay, human orbs, spirit orbs. We're like, oh, lightsabers. We're back to UFOs. What the fuck does all this even mean? I don't even know. I have no idea, man. Kelly, while we got you on, let's wind this down. We're a little long, but that's okay. You guys know we got time for you. Nobody tells us when to stop because we're grown-ass people. And if you're a child listening to this, go ask your parents' permission because this is not a children's conversation. Kelly, what you got, brother?
Oh, just one last thing. November 24th is Aura Awareness Day. Or if it's not, that's when it first started, but if not, it's always the fourth Saturday in November.
All right. I didn't know that. I had no damn idea.
Just a little something to throw out there before the end of the show. But yeah, good show, man. Yeah, this is always, I've always been intrigued on some of this stuff too. That's why I went down this rabbit hole a few times, and it actually, this show, it actually kind of like, that's what I'm saying. I like everybody's thoughts and their theories. Great. You guys have a good evening. See you tomorrow.
You too, bro. Thanks a lot. Thanks for hanging out with us. Shout out to Tam Bam out there in Rockfin. I see you. Let's go back to Matt. Matt in California. Let's wind this down. What's up, brother? What else you got for us? If you're there or if you're not. Let's go to James, and then we'll go back to Matt if he's there. Go ahead, James.
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody again who's helped, who I've been talking with recently. I don't even want to say any names right now because I don't want to leave anyone out, just like you always say there, Mike.
Pro tips. Don't list people or you'll leave people out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But those of you all that I've talked to, you know who you are, and you've all helped me. You know, I was talking with Mike about this the other day. When I had this idea, when I came across this idea, I was talking to people and they were like, yeah, it's interesting stuff, and it gets weirder when you look into it more. And I was like, wait, so you all, so I'm just new to this idea. This has been around for, okay. And it's not that anyone was in any way mean about it. They were all just saying like, yeah, it's an interesting one. Just wait until you look into it more. And they were right. And it's been, I had a lot of fun researching this over the weekend. I really did.
Lots to talk about, lots to think about, as always. That's what I always say on this show. And we're going to keep doing it, right? God willing, we've got tomorrow. We're going to keep on punching. And like I said, the truth to me is less important than kind of asking the right questions to get as close to the truth as possible. Because in a post-truth world, the truth doesn't mean squat. It means propaganda. It means you're listening to Tucker Carlson or Don Lemon. And let me tell you, they're both douchebags. They're both douchebags. That's my opinion. And they're public figures, and I'm allowed to say that. Just like they can say that about me, and I'll be like, a propagandist calling me that? Badge of honor. Badge of honor. All right. Matt, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Good show tonight, Mike. I have a quote outro, so
sure.
Thank you guys for everything, so go ahead.
Pleasure. You're the best. We got two, actually. James, you want to read it? You want me to do it?
I'll let you do it, yeah.
Okay, so let's go. So I'm going to play the thing. I'm going to do the outro here, play the things, so you guys will hear some echo because you guys can hear the outro music. We're going to wait for the bass to drop, and then Matt's going to go first with an outro quote, and then I got one from James right after that. So if you guys love the show, please spread the word. That's the most important thing. We can beat the algorithms with old school word of mouth. Wait for the bass to drop. Matt.
If you're going to have faith, you can't have it just when the miracles happen. You have to have it when you don't. And that's from Supernatural.
Ooh, that's really good. That is really good. And yes,
thank you guys.
Fantastic. You're the best, Matt. Appreciate it very much. This one is from James. A person's energy and the aura they give off never lies. Trust in that. From an anonymous source. I can't thank James Salcedo of Salcedo Paranormal enough. Again, he's always Johnny on the spot for me. Every time I'm like, I need this, he's like, I'll do it. You notice if nobody calls, James is like, I'll do it. He's like, I don't really know anything about this, but I'll call. James, special thanks to you, not just for being part of this show, for being part of all the shows, for being literally the lifeblood of troubled minds. I appreciate you very much, my friend.
Oh, no problem. Glad to be here with you all.
There you go. As we finish, it goes a little something like this. The bad news is we're done. The good news is, God willing, we've got tomorrow. That's for Jay in New York. And of course, if you want to help the show, there are a number of ways. You can sub up on Patreon, you can sub up on Twitch, you can sub up on Rockfin, and of course, spread the word. Listen to the podcast feed. If you do that, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you listen to your podcast, they're monetized. They got some commercials in there. It's kind of minimal commercial interruption, but it sends a few cents my way every time you do. So please, there you go. There are a number of ways to help the show, and you could do it. You don't have to spend money. It can be absolutely free. Thank you so much for being part of this. Thanks for all the amazing calls. Thanks for all the amazing chat. I don't even know. Like I say every time we finish, I'm saying thank you, like I'm running for office here. I promise I'm not yet. And well, as we do this, thanks for listening. And how's it go, James? You want to do it? You want me to do it?
I can do it.
All right. It goes exactly like this.
Be sure, be strong, be true.
Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night. Nice one, James. There we go with the howls. See you guys tomorrow. News show makeup tomorrow. We're going to do a news show at 3 p.m. So we'll have a sneak attack news show to make up for the one we missed today. So we'll see you guys tomorrow at the news show, 3 p.m. Pacific on Twitch. Otherwise, same as Troubled Minds time, 7 p.m. We'll see you there. Have a great one, guys. How's it go? Let's time this perfectly. From our troubled minds to yours. Have a great night.